Alright, go live. And that should be good. Well, I guess there's the... You guys are probably seeing this live, I guess, because of the delay. Anyways, hello. I am back again for my, hopefully now weekly Saturday streams. Just because of schedule stuff, I think I'll possibly have to move it around every week or a lot of weeks. I think most weeks I'll aim for like around this time. That music's a bit loud, but yeah. So I normally aim for around this time, but things might change. Who knows? And I do like streaming in the morning, my time more. I believe it or not, a morning person. But yeah, hello everyone. Hopefully I have more energy this time, because the last one was like, I was ready to go to bed. Alright, so for this stream, I want to finish the Frosty Iceberg map. So there's a couple things I need to do here. Well, actually I need to open up another client so I can even... wait, that's the terminal. That means it's going to be PowerShell. Okay. Let me just get into the folder here. Where is it? Pixkartz. Oh wait, actually before we begin, something I want to say, for just because there's going to be people watching this and this is the part that everyone sees. I have a game, a Steam game that I'm working on. Well, Pixkartz might also turn into a Steam game as well. Actually, probably will, but this is the one that's probably gonna have the soonest release date, and it's called Yawnoc. It's a top-down shooter where you $251 from my CS:GO cases I sold. I made a 100x return by buying CS:GO cases at 3 cents and selling them for over $3. So I spent like $3 a long time ago and I got hundreds of dollars in my Steam account. But yeah, so Yawnoc is a game I made for a collaboration, but I'm going to take it a lot further. The video for that collaboration should be out in I think a week or two. But it is my first Steam game in several years. And did I mess up the crop? No, I didn't. Okay, that's just Steam cropping it funny. And it's available for people to wishlist. I'm hoping it'll be out summer-ish. So it'd be greatly appreciated if you guys could go wishlist that, because if I can get 7,000, then that's how you get Steam to start promoting it for you and stuff, and that's how you make the real money on release. Anyways, so yeah, go wishlist Yawnoc, but let's get back into Pixkartz here. Let me just Pygame. That's a real funny Pygame.py. Okay, doubled audio. So if I play, and I'm just gonna move this one off to the side. I don't need that one. I'll re-chat in a bit here once I actually show you guys the map where it was left off from last stream. So if you notice, the snow on the edge is very it's just a white thing. It's just a flat line. I am kind of happy with how I got the colors after everything. So there's a couple things. So yeah, there's the snow that I wanna decorate that a little bit more, and I also wanna make the road a little bit wider, because in a lot of places it's really thin, and that's not ideal. The ice needs to be slippery. I want to add, so you know how you have the sprite stacks for like the fences and stuff? I want to add like pillars of ice as a sprite stack, which means I'm going to be doing some magic voxel stuff. So that's the main stuff, I think. Oh, and the penguins. So there's 4 things. I want to make the ice slippery. I want to make the snow on the edges look like a nice, interesting snow pattern. And just like polish the floor texture overall. I want to add the ice pillars, and I want to do the penguins. But yeah, this is just normal road for now, so this will be a lot more chaotic once this is done. Anyway, so like these sections right here I can make much wider. It's pretty easy to do. Oh, I did it first try. Okay, now that shortcut's a bit tricky to take. The solution to the shortcut by jumping off the edge thing will have to be fixed later. I'm not going to do that as part of this map because it's just a general mechanic where I want to make it longer for you to respawn after you fall off the track. But yeah, so that's where I'm at. And now I guess I'll jump straight into, I guess, what is the first thing here? I'll start with the map and then I'll go to the ice. And then I start doing the decor stuff. The penguin shouldn't take too long because I'll just use the chicken logic. All right, so let's kill the stuff. And I need to use PowerShell with the tabs. That would be more convenient than my 3 windows here. One of them's for my avatar. One of them's the server for Pixkartz, and then one of them is the second game. All right. Hola, saludos desde Argentina. I think that just translates to hello, salutations from Argentina, right? Yeah, hello. I'm hoping to get back into learning Spanish soon. I've been dealing with a lot of chaos for the last couple weeks, I guess. Not like bad chaos, just a lot of stuff going on. And I have one more collaboration I'm finishing in like a week or two, and then I'll be free to actually work on things that need to be done and things that I want to do, like learning Spanish and stuff like that. All right. Wishlist interested? Thanks. Yes, Yawnoc is Conway, but backwards. Alright. Not gonna lie, the water looks a bit strange. Maybe make it lighter, more cyan color for the ice map. I don't know, just you. So it was that way at first, and then I feel like it clashed too much with the ice and stuff. And I think in my head, just mentally, when I think about snowy places, I think of darker water, and just because if you think about it, just in general, places that snow get less light, so it's darker in general. The snow's really reflective, so that's kind of bright, but the water itself will appear darker than in a more tropical area just because there's less light. Then again, I've seen snow a couple times in my life, so maybe I'm not the best person to be making those decisions. Yeah, it's never... wait, actually, it has snowed in Florida in my lifetime not actually, never where I've lived. Now, I've lived in places in Florida where it has snowed, but I've not lived there at the specific times it is snowed. And then, yeah, I'm very unlikely to see snow here in the near future, so... All right. 32 pixel or 64 pixel game, which is better? I'm not sure what you mean. Or you're talking about for like tile sizes. I normally do like 16 or lower. It's a lot of work to do tile sizes larger than that. Yeah, the water's gonna be this whole palette's really saturated, and the snow is I guess not saturated because it's white, so you don't notice it as much on this track. But when in the context of everything else, I guess it's fine. I think because everything else is saturated. All right, so let's pull up Sprite here. Where are my recent files? And why? What happened to the font? It's like it's the pixel font here, and then it just goes into alias. What is that? Is that Arial? I don't know. All right. I think the better way to get to this is to oops, spoilers. All right. So if I go to Pixkartz, I think data, images, Sprite, there it is. So I want to fix the track, and it is Frosty Iceberg. So here's the track image. So I want to start by doing something about the fact that the track is super skinny, like especially right here. Actually, wait a second. I might have to. I don't know which way I can expand this. Well, actually, I think I can expand it up this way. But yeah, the track is kind of skinny. I might extend it up on this edge and stretch it out this way. That's what I'm thinking. And then this section down here is skinny. This is also skinny, but that's fine. Because the people are going to be splitting here. Some people are going to take the long path, some people are going to try to take the shortcut. So this section here is not going to have as many people on it. But specifically this section near the end here needs to be wider. And then this one right here. And maybe here. This part here is fine. I don't know why I made the mistake. Because I made the mistake of having it the right size at the beginning. And then I just made everything so skinny. But this is going to be like a Ghost Valley 2. Wait, how close is this to Ghost Valley 2? Isn't this like... Hold up. Am I just subconsciously copying it? I have to see. Okay, I mean... It's kind of close. Kinda. I have a little curve in the middle. But it is like a Ghost Valley 2 type, really short map. So, let's... Are there any of them that are close? I don't know. Interesting. But, this is, I think, by far the... actually, it might be longer than Moo Moo. I'm not sure. Alright, so the first step here is to update the terrain, which is, I believe, is it layer 2 or 1? Let's just turn off the other ones and see what we get. That's the reference, so it's 2. So yeah, I gotta update this. So I just gotta go boop, and this is pretty easy. Just drop our road like right there. And that'll make it wide enough, I think. Now the tricky part is getting this as a straight line. So actually, I think I can get the coordinate here and then make it straight that way. So if I go look at here on the bottom left, it'll say I'm on 976. So if I just go over here and get to 976 or whatever, I should probably be over here so it's more flat. So 976. There we go. And that's the line. So now I can just curve this around, and I'm really sloppy about this because I mean, there's no way there'll be thousands of people playing this, right? All right. So I'm gonna curve this in because I don't want to mess with the ice too much. And the ice is gonna be the hectic part where people are like sliding off the track. That's the fun part of this map. So, all right. So that's gonna be wider now. And then I think this area too. How did I do this? I think there's something about the inside. I put like an item box over here, didn't I? I think I did. So, oh no, that's still flood fill. Alright, so this one I can freehand, I think, because the flat section was only there because of how it didn't, the fact that it didn't go out from the ice. Alright. And also the wiggles are good because that just makes the snow pattern on the edges look more natural. Alright. So this needs to converge to some degree down here because, there we go. Because of the boost that's here. Alright, so that's made a bit wider. This section here is possibly the worst offender. Alright, so I'm just gonna start right here and do that. And we'll go down this way. And I'm not gonna mess with the ice again. So I'm just gonna merge it right there, do that. And I will extend this one out. I'm worried about the fences. I might have to move some of the fences with some of these changes. So this one's a bit tricky because I want it to be curvy still. I don't want there to just be an easy short path. So I gotta merge it back in on this side and then stick it out from the other side later. So, let's see. Wait, this is tricky. I don't have much space to work with here. I think I just do this and then like do that. There we go. And this is really curvy. You could kind of cut through, but then it's kind of tight. And I want to smooth this out. This is a little bit janky. There we go. No, I'm gonna need a bit more. There we go. We're good. All right. So that's the terrain layer. So on top of the terrain layer, we also have. Oh, there's definitely gonna be some problems with the fences. Might be spending like an hour of the stream just getting this map updated. And I mean, that's probably the most intense part of it. I should have thought about how I was going to handle the ice before doing this stream. I might actually have to do that last and put that off and to deal in my own time or something. Because I think I mentioned this in the last stream, but it's one of those things where I have to really think about how I want to handle it. Because the naive solution makes you drive faster whenever you're on the ice. And I want something that's not going to cause too much trouble down the road when mixing with other mechanics. Which hopefully there shouldn't be too many more movement mechanics, but I just don't want something that's going to potentially cause problems. Because some of the math I could do, if I'm taking into account max speed and doing all sorts of that stuff, the more factors I have in, the more I have to keep going back and updating it. Every single time something changes, so it gets weird. All right, so that's the terrain. These extras are fine. I mean, this one's a little bit weird, but I can leave that. It'd be funny if you bump someone right here and they have to miss the speed boost. But I think overall those are fine. So the big thing is this. So I need to redo this stuff here. And I think the way I'll do it, can I just wait? There's an easy solution here. Here's the easy solution. Watch this. Here's where the magic is. Take this, and wait, no, shift click. Just go boop, 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 boop. Copy all those. And then we go over to layer 5. Watch this. It's all brown. All right. And then now I can go over here. And if I grab this, and then I make a brush out of it. And then if I do it, you want it aligned to source. And then I want to select all of this stuff. Look at that lag. Like, image is so big, Aseprite's not used to this stuff. It's because it's for pixel art. All right. One thing I did lose that I'm just remembering is the finish line. That was kind of important. Wait, actually, wait, no, it's painted on top. I think I might be good. Yeah, we can paint these back in like that. Isn't that magic? So easy. All right. So now that matches the terrain. And I think, the finish line was painted directly onto the road, but I could move it to this one, and that'll make things easier. But for the time being, because I just erased it and I don't want to go back, I have to go pull it from the map with the widest beginning is BC3, I think. So I get the widest image for the start line. This map is too large, but it's such a pain to downscale it that I'm gonna leave it. All right, so if I just grab this, just copy that, close that, come back to Aseprite, and minor issue, at least I didn't save this, which means that I can, I'm gonna go and find the exact location of it, because actually I might just copy it from here because it didn't change. Actually, none of the stuff north of here changed. So I can literally just go up to here, copy to the top, and then just make sure it aligns. I think, if I did it right. So just paste right here. So you align it to the top, like that. And then, if I go down here, I just have to align these, and that should put my thing back. I have to be careful to not move it vertically. There's probably a key binding for this that would make this much easier. It's just there. That's it. I think. Let me just double check the top here. That's good. And then that should put the, yep, we're good. Magic. It's funny, there's a lot of, when you have limited tools like this, there's a lot of problem solving and doing these types of things, like graphical projects, I guess. It's interesting. And I do enjoy the visual problem solving where you're thinking about things visually. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and save this. I'll check in the chat again. Hello. Why not use a game engine like Godot? Well, I was using a game engine yesterday like Godot. Here, let me show you. Where is it? Where is that? Where did I put this stuff? Oh, did I just use the default Godot? No, I didn't. Here it is. Aha. This is what I was doing yesterday. I was having some fun yesterday. And I mean, I know how to use Godot. I'm not great at it yet, but and I mean, well, I did the collab with with Blackthorn Prod, but yeah, like it really is, especially when you compare it to the tool set that I have for making my own games, like 2D stuff. It really is, just because of all the processes you have to go through, like all the UI steps you have to go through. I feel like it's a lot more time consuming. And even if I made, well, like, really the features that Godot provides, especially in 2D, aren't really, like, it's pretty much the same stuff that I have on my own things, except, well, I have all my extra graphical effects and stuff. And there's a lot of annoying things with OpenGL-based stuff in general, performance-wise. It's sort of that I just got used to making games with software renderings that is running on your CPU instead of your GPU, that I'm used to thinking about games in terms of single core performance and just as a single process. And when you deal with the GPU, there's all sorts of tools for like particles and stuff. Whereas with software rendering, it's just, hey, let's just put 1 million particles on screen, and that's it. Whereas with the GPU, you're like trying to run it through the GPU, and you're doing all these extra steps, and it gets more complicated. And the way that manifests in game engines is that it comes out as a very different system. Whereas when you're doing software rendering, it's all, well, I mean, you're also rendering other stuff through the GPU anyways. I mean, everything else through the GPU, but it still works. I don't know the details about how the particles are implemented on GPUs, but I think it's still different the way, like on the lower level, it's different how you handle particles and just normal sprites when rendering on the GPU compared to software, which just everything's all done the exact same way. It's just put an image on the screen. It's that simple. And just there's a lot of conveniences that come with that. So overall, I'm pretty fast with it, and you'll see in the next collab some of the effects of that. It comes out as a pretty big advantage for me. And I mean, also, I mean, well, there's the Lumen Dare results and just all the game jams I've done and stuff as well that really show how it can be more efficient once you're used to it and you have your own tool set for that. But yeah, that's kind of the answer. Am I ever gonna do Alex Jam again? I would do it right now if I could. If it weren't for the other collab I've got going on right now, I would have done it. But yeah, I'm just busy right now. So I think next time I might try to make sure my schedule's clear so that I can do it. And then I think I might actually promote it because the numbers aren't great anymore. I think they get like 10 entries now, whereas like there was a time when they would get like, I don't know, 80. But I might promote it next time just so it's kind of a fun event, and maybe it'll turn I might hijack the jam and just turn it into a jam with mostly people from here. That would be funny, but and I think that's fine, because I mean I've been there the whole time pretty much, and I'm a moderator there as well, but yeah, I do miss doing the Alaka jam. And I just couldn't do it this time. What is the black area? That's what gets turned into the water. Yeah, the Vagrant kind of summarized it. I've been using Pygame for a long time, and I mean, I do make VR games like I just showed with Godot. But I mean, I'm just so much faster doing things with Pygame, and yeah, that's just kind of how it is. And also, I mean, there are random things in game engines where you either have to hack around it or you're limited in some way. And I'm running into this problem with VR. I'm like, I know how to do this on a lower level, and then the game engine just doesn't really let you easily do it. And I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this would be so much easier to implement on a lower level when you're just dealing with a GPU, but then it gets complicated because you're trying to do it through the game engine systems, and you have to use the game engine systems. And well, some of that is because they have other systems going on, like for optimization and other stuff that require things to be done a certain way, so they have to have their own weird systems to deal with that. But yeah, there's some annoyances there. And like a lot of it is just that when people make engines, they try to make the features more easily understandable to just the average person who's just starting to learn to use game engines, whereas I have the technical knowledge to understand how interfacing with the graphics card on a lower level works. And so what is easy to understand for the average person could be a lot easier to understand for me if it were, and to work with, if it were, I guess, presented in a different way, and if the functionality was done in a different way. I don't know. So that's some of it. Although that could just be that I'm used to doing things a different way than normal. So maybe it is the way that most people would expect it, even with the technical experience. I don't know. Because, I mean, I'm coming from a very different background with software rendering compared to going straight into GPU-based rendering. So the way I look at the hardware rendering, just even on a low level, is probably different from most people. How old am I? 22. By the way, you're not sure if I know this, but if you deselect the continuous option, it'll select all the same color. Where's the continuous option? I'm not sure where that is. Is that up here? I'm not sure where that is. Oh, yeah, if you tell me where that is, that would be helpful. I feel like I've used it in the past, or maybe it's in Krita, where it'll do it as non-continuous and just get all the same color. I don't know. But I was using the magic wand. They don't have like a color select thing that's clearly a color select, because they could separate it as a color select thing, and that would make more sense. And that's how Krita does it, I think. Have I tried using AI to help? So the thing with that, first of all, the stock models, so like the stuff, like, you know, the Dolly models and Midjourney and stuff, they are really bad at pixel by default because they're not trained to do it. It's just so different from typical art that when you try to mix it with typical art and the way the models are right now, they don't really know what to do. And usually you'll see these weird shaped squares and all sorts of weird artifacts. Now people have trained models specifically for pixel art, and there have been some decent results, but they look more like paintings than pixel art paintings rather than normal pixel art. And the other thing is, I think consistency is also a problem. And to me, the thing that really sells the polish on a game visually is consistency. And that should be, as an artist, your first goal when you're working on art for games is to make sure that all of the artwork is consistent. And that's what makes it really look polished. So there's a huge amount of inconsistency when you're doing the AI stuff. And it's just not there yet. And then there's also the ethical concerns, but I mean, we can think about those after we even get to the point where I could be using it. And I mean, if you're just beginning and you can't draw to begin with, I could see it possibly being better than some alternatives, but for me, it's not there yet. And then, yeah. I do enjoy doing the artwork to some extent because I just like to have the break from programming. And then I also like programming as a break from artwork. Although artwork is actually probably my least favorite thing of the game development thing, like skill set, just because, well, you spend the most time doing it, and it's the one where I really can't stand doing it for more than a few hours. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind too much if that got replaced. I mean, I would probably still draw a little bit in my own time just because it's something I like to do, but for games, artwork does end up being quite a bit of a pain, so I could do a lot more if I didn't have to draw everything. But like I said, the AI is just not there yet, and I have seen some pretty impressive models for Pixar, but it's still just not there. All right. Am I good with modern GL? To some extent. I mean, probably better than most people, but there's a lot of things I still don't understand. So, I would say I'm kind of in the middle. I would like to get a little bit better with it and do some interesting stuff with it. And actually, it's funny, I've been using it for work. I've been using some modern GL for some stuff with rockets, which is funny. But that's helping me get better with it as well. But there's a lot of stuff. A lot of it comes down to just knowledge of the OpenGL pipeline, which I would like to improve my knowledge on. But yeah, I'm kind of in the middle. You're gonna create a modern Pygame where you're going to add a lot of features to Pygame and made GUI for Pygame. There's already a GUI thing for Pygame. There's a is it just Pygame GUI? There's a module for that. The issue with doing GUIs in Pygame is that in polished games, you really do have to write your GUIs from scratch because they need to behave and be animated in a way that is applicable to the style of your game, which is technically, as in like from a logical standpoint when you're writing the code, very different from game to game to the point where you can't really create a good UI system unless it's super bare bones. But yeah, you can't really create a good UI system that will apply to everything. Now, the use case for, Pygame GUI, is that in games like roguelikes as an actual roguelikes, where it's like the dungeon crawler and there's a million different menus, that's the kind of case where the menu polish doesn't matter as much, and it's really important to just have all those menu features right off the bat. So in those cases, I can see it being useful, but overall, I'm kind of against doing GUIs, GUI tools. There are use cases for them, but I think in polished games, you usually do it from scratch. But new features, definitely. I've thought about making just not necessarily an engine, but just kind of like an extended feature version of Pygame for a bunch of random things that would be useful. So there's some utility there. Would I like to try your 1v1 web game? Well, I'm busy with this stream right now. And I've got a very busy weekend overall. If I played everyone's games that asked, I wouldn't have time to do anything else. Now, if you post it in my Discord and it catches my eye, I might play it, because that's what does happen, is that people will post their games in my Discord, and then I'll get interested in that. So like I played Froggo Swinging Grapple on stream a while ago, and then I'll play, I guess, Froggo Plus when it comes out, and Isometria. I think Isometria comes out, is it March? I think it's coming up soon, so you might be able to see a stream of that soon. And then I know that one guy in my Discord server with a Russian name that's doing his procedurally animated fighting game. That looks cool. So if you post stuff in there, I might play it when you release it. Can you use Pygame for a big 2D game with 64 pixel style? Yeah, nowadays you can. You kind of couldn't in 2013 back when I started, but yeah, you can now, and it should work fine for that. What about me speedrun making a map live? You talking about for Pixkartz? I kind of have to have a break while making these maps, because it's such a long process. Well, anything more than like 4 hours, and I kind of need a break. So I think I really crunched on Sandy Oasis and got it out, I think, in a day, maybe. Or no, I did it like part of it one day, and then I did most of the rest of it another, I think. It was kind of exhausting. All right. How are things? How does the map work? You can go back in the stream for that explanation, but basically I draw the map. There's the terrain layer, which has how it all works, but yeah. All right. Go Rockets, go. Yep. You're currently making software for storm chasing season with Pygame. It has live NWS, I'm guessing that's National Weather Service updates, live GPS mapping of weather station attached on you and your friend's car, and live updating data to the server. That's cool. That reminds me of just some of the stuff I do for work, because and I have used Pygame for both companies that I've worked for, which is kind of funny. But it's just that sometimes there's some graphical application where it's just easier to have the flexibility of something like Pygame, and try not to force it into, well, specifically with some of the mixed graphing type stuff, where you want it to be kind of real time. There's not really good ways to do that, because like Matplotlib doesn't do real time stuff very well, especially if you want certain features. There's probably some tools out there for graphing, but there's some random plotting stuff and just data related things where it's just really not that complicated to set it up in Pygame. And it works out pretty well, because I mean, you're already doing like the data science type stuff in Python anyways, in the automation, so it works kind of well in there. All right, so back to what I was doing here. So I need to add the snow borders. There's the snow, and what is this layer? Oh, that's fine. Those are fine. I can move that. Is there one? Is it just the one? Wasn't there another? I thought there was another. Hold up. Oh, I guess these are all jumps. Interesting. There's one speed boost on this map. All right. So I don't need that layer. What is this layer? Oh, is this the stamps layer? No, it's not the stamps layer. What is that? Oh, that's that one. But it's also painted onto the track here, because I merged down, which is fine. All right, so I'm gonna grab the stamps, and I need to make a stamp with snow. So the way I normally do this is scale the pixel size, and we just do, the bigger these things, the better, but the more, well, the faster I can fill out the map, the bigger these are, but oh, I just noticed, Sprite's running at my monitor's refresh rate. I didn't really think about that. Sorry, I keep like burping and having to hold my breath. But so yeah, I'm used to things just being forced to 60 FPS, so you don't even notice the refresh rate. But I can see it here. It's like you guys can't see it because you guys are stuck at like the YouTube 30 FPS thing or whatever. But for me, it's like I got 165, and I just got my new monitor like a couple months ago, and I'm still enjoying the 165 hertz. But yeah, so the bigger I make these things, the more imprecise the edge of the map, but also the quicker I can draw everything. Fortunately, this is a smaller map, so it shouldn't take too long to put everything in. So the way I do this is I just, actually I think I need it to be a little bit smaller. So you just make a little bumps, and so that this will give it the natural shape, hopefully. So you do that. Looks like a little bit of a cloud right now or something. But you do that, and then, actually, do I want it to, I feel like this should actually start on a darker color. So I'm gonna grab, which color ramp was I gonna use for snow? I think it's this one, right? Oh, here's the color ramp for snow that I was using. So I'll take the darker one. So I'll start on this color, which is a really dirty color. And then I want to add the lighter color. Wait, is it? Huh? Oh, there. So the way this works is you just boop, you just draw your little shapes around here, and just do this kind of pattern pretty much. Just make it look like a bunch of blobs. This is what I've done for all the other maps. Doesn't have to be too complicated. So you do that, and then you go up a color, and you just keep doing it. You know, wee. I am ethnically not, well, I'm genetically part French. I can say that, I think. All right. Nice little blobs. It looks puffy because I'm using the such a big brush. I think normally I use a smaller brush for these types of things. All right. So now I can take the actual white. And I think I'll have to compare it with the other ones just to make sure that I'm doing this right. All right. So now I can just go and connect all of these. And that gives me the white part. And this part's the important part because this is what is gonna, this is where it has to connect with, oh, I made a mistake. So actually the way this normally has to work. So you don't do the top layer like that. You leave the bottom layer like that. You can just flood fill this, I guess, right there. So you leave that like that, and then you have to make a separate top layer so that it merges with the snow properly. Let me just, I'm gonna pull up my references here. Where is it? So if I go, not there, stuff, Pixkartz, data, images, maps, and I believe Moo has the stamps on it. Yeah, I can see them on the top left here. So here's how I did it before. Wait, you can't actually see it. But I think there's just a green one that goes on top of all of them. So I'm just gonna double check that. Yeah, the snow is fine being puffier like this, so this is fine. All right, so for this one, I just go all the way around. Just make a little stamp. So you have to do 2 layers of stamps. So one's the top that will blend it with the edge of all that snow, and the other one, this one, is going on the bottom. All right, I'm going to add a little bit more puffiness by just placing circles all around it, and hopefully that makes it feel more snowy. All right, So I can take this and make this into a stamp. The stamp feature on A-Sprite is really useful. And then I can start stamping this around the map. Do I have... minor issue. This needs to be moved to another layer. Or, wait, different solution. Can I just... That works too. I don't know how I feel about that being a red transparent. That might cause some weird effects, so I'm just gonna fill that with actual transparent. All right, so we make the brush again, and now we can start stamping this around the map. So normally, I'm gonna do this as another layer, just so that I don't do any irreversible changes. So I think I need to shrink this. These are so big. I'm gonna shrink these. So wait, no, I have to do it on 6. No, it's not 6. Where is this? Where's my? It's on 5, right? So I need to make these smaller. Which there's some artifacts in doing that, but it's fine. I'm gonna clean this up a little bit. It's gotta be a little bit rounded in some places that are making the resizing a little bit obvious. Just get rid of the sharp corners pretty much. There we go. That should go a long ways into making it look less jagged. All right, so it is smaller now, which is close to the size I need. I'll have a shadow coming out from here later, which will help. So the way this works is you just start stamping. So you just go, well, the way I normally do it is I do 2 layers. So I'll go like this, and then I'll come back and do another one like that. So it's like going back and forth. So I space them out at first, so just going up like this or whatever. And I guess it has to fall along the coast too. Oh, that's gonna be so annoying because the coast gets long in some spots. This one's gonna be corner one, so it's gonna be... Yeah, I might actually have to do a lot of stamping on this map because of all the coasts that I have to deal with. So this might actually take a while. This might be the whole stream. We'll see. I'll probably stream until like for another hour and a half. Right. So I don't want to go too far onto the ice, or else the terrain gets misleading. Oh, you know, I should have checked. You know what? I'm gonna be confident. I'm not gonna check to make sure that it looks good when I put on the other stuff. I'm just gonna hope for the best. Worst case scenario, it just looks kind of like rocks. But I'm violating the palette a lot on this map. Ooh, this is a tricky one. I don't like that. That's a really awkward... I should not be doing that. Here, wait, I'm gonna actually just... Wait, have I been stamping onto 5 instead of 7? I have to restart anyways. Oopsie. Oopsie. This is why you make sure you get your layers right. I'm not in the habit of using layers. I'm an MS Paint user. Alright. So while I'm here though, I think I did pattern, whatever. Will people notice? Here, I'm just gonna hand pixel this because I do not care. People might notice. Who knows? Because it's not the tiled pattern from everything else. But yeah, you're gonna have to look pretty closely to see this, if there's anything going on here. All right. The train doesn't match, but it's such a small section that you shouldn't be going into anyway, so it's not gonna matter. All right, so I'm gonna take that, make a brush again, and we try this again. All right, so stamp, stamp, boop, boop. Just go all the way. I'll do this one now, just because I wanna make sure I get it right. There we go. So we go all the way up here. And we go all the way around this loop. This is the part that I hate the most about making these maps, is this specific part where I'm stamping the edge of the road. It's so tedious. And it takes like an hour. I almost wonder if I shouldn't have done this on the stream. But I always get to see the map slowly taking shape. If you're watching the recording, you can fast forward. It's crazy. Hopefully I'll have something interesting to talk about. Maybe I'll read chat and see if there's something interesting to talk about while I'm mindlessly stamping these things. The second layer goes faster because I don't have to think as much about the placement usually if I do it right. Yeah. This is gonna behave a little bit funny. I think I had a similar thing going on Sandy Oasis. I'm just gonna do the first round of stamping. Well, I'm gonna do all the stamping for this one right here. All right, so just boop, boop, get it all done. So the edge of the map is not super precise because of these stamps. So it might look like you're on the ground, but you're gonna hit the water a bit early. And I mean, I could change those boundaries later, but ideally you wouldn't be driving over there to begin with. So you probably shouldn't be noticing it. Probably. Yeah, I'll read chat again once I finish this loop here. Or not loop, this section along the edge. And then I get to the next water section. All right. Alright, almost there. Oh, and I gotta clean up the edges on this one. Ooh, is this? Ooh, I don't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. I gotta do that. It's awkward. Ooh, I think I gotta. I'm doing some weird stuff here to make this one work. I'll connect this up here. This is pretty quick because there's not very much of it. There we go. And I guess I'll fill in this section all the way just so that we can see what it will look like. But yeah, let's take a look at the chat. Why have I stayed with Python? Like, people tend to use C++ for making games unless you convert Python to C using library. There's no reason for me to use C. That would take so much longer to make everything. I'm at a point where I just naturally optimize most of the things I write. So most of my code is pretty performant logically. So I don't I don't need the performance from C. And with games, it's good to write your stuff because like usually if you make a mistake in performance, it's in the the big O runtimes where it's like you did n squared instead of n log n or something. And so C will just help you hide that issue for longer in a lot of cases with game development. And then it might just come up later and bite you. Whereas in Python, you'll notice it immediately if you messed up, or usually it depends on scale. But so yeah, I just don't really have much of a use for the performance from C or C++. I mean, there's a couple things here and there, but for the most part, I really don't need it. So I'm fine with Python, and I can write the code so much faster with Python. All right. There we go. I'll just look at chat again and see if there's any more questions once I get around this corner. So it's not quite looking like snow right here, but I think it might once I get the actual top layer in, which is what I'm about to find out. And I'm hoping I thought this out right, but we'll see. I cannot read French. I may be genetically French to some degree. It's like maybe 10, 15% or so. Oh, is it 30? Wait, no, it's not 30. I'm like 30% British or something, and like 10% French. I don't remember. But yeah, I can't read it. Well, actually, I was in a French-speaking country recently, not France, and you could just kind of figure it out because the words were close enough that a lot of the important words, you could just kind of guess at what they mean. Have you ever thought about creating a game using Panda 3D or Asana in Python? Panda 3D is really old. I would be a bit skeptical about using it, partially for that reason. I don't know. But yeah, I'm not particularly interested in using Panda 3D. Now, Ursina, I think I looked at it and it seems a little bit limited in functionality. It seems like in that weird middle layer for me where it's like, because I know how to do things on a lower level with like modern GL, I would prefer to be using modern GL compared to getting the small advantages I would get from something like Ursina, because it can do some things. Now, I guess that would be a good case, like a good case for it is just because there isn't a very high level engine yet for Python. Maybe if I wanted to do something that was very, I don't know, animation dependent. I'm not sure what Ursina's support for animation really is, but maybe something super animation dependent, I would look into using it. But for now, I'm good. All right, so let's check out this other stamp here. Also, let's make sure I got my layers right. Yeah, that's how it should be. I would like to see like a full game engine in Python some days, but probably I'm starting to think that probably won't happen. We'll see though. Oh, I feel like this stamp's a bit small. I'm gonna have a lot of stamping to do. So I go back and forth like this. If you go on a zigzag pattern, it looks more natural. See, look, that looks nice, I think. I think I need to go a little bit closer to the edge because the whiteness of the snow is kind of important. Otherwise, it looks too rocky. So I go back and forth like this. I don't like that little gap I left there. Yeah, so there's ends up being like 3 layers because I do the 2 layers of the bottom one, which is a little pattern I like to do, and then for the top one, well then there's the top one, so it ends up being 3. Yeah, I think my stamp's a little bit small. I'll zoom out and take a look at how the edges are looking after I finish this section. I think it's looking pretty good. I like the texture of it. The only thing is, I guess the colors are a bit funky for snow. Having that dirty snow on the edge. It's a bit funky there. Oh, that's got to curve around, so I shouldn't do that one yet. I think this is how I'll do it. Totally not obvious what's going on here. It's so weird. I think it's better to have it overhanging to the right a bit, I guess. Because the part you're driving on is the part you'll be looking at. Alright. Yeah, this is how the magic happens with these maps. Lots of stamps, which, I mean, if I were hand drawing every single pixel on these maps, it would take forever. And then I also can't really do a tile system because then it doesn't look very natural. Alright. That can come out a little bit there. And I'll just finish up this section up here. So I guess the standard net or the norm now is to just make it overhang on the outside water instead of doing it on the road in the worst case scenario. There we go. So how's this looking? I think this could be sticking out a little bit more right here. This section here is, I did I did it a bit far back, but I like how this looks, and especially once I get the shadows in, I think that'll look pretty good. Right now it's a little bit, it blends with the road too much, but once I get the shadows in for the terrain, I think it'll look pretty good. All right, so next step, next step is going to be the rest. Draw the rest of the bird, or no, the rest of the owl. But yeah, I gotta do the rest of this thing. So, gotta do all these sections. So far, I don't do the ice, fortunately. This one might just be floating here. I'm not sure what to do about that. I should have thought that through. Actually, you know what? I might just make this one ice, because you're going straight anyways. So I think it works better as just ice. And I could do that for this one too. And then it all fits. Because the ice is I don't like having this flat edge with the water on that. So I'm going to go ahead and switch these to ice. And I mean, yeah, so it's looking like I'll get through maybe to the penguins. That's what I'm hoping for. I don't think I'll be doing the ice physics today, but I'll be getting close. Where is my terrain layer? So I need, yeah. Getting hungry. I have not eaten today. That's what happens when you flood fill, I forgot. So I gotta hit escape and switch it. All right. So we've got the ice there. So now I just gotta actually switch this to ice. So that's fine. So now I gotta go over here, go to my ice pattern, make a brush out of it, and then wait, I need this back. You do W, and do that, B, line to source. Oh, wrong layer. Don't want to do that. That's bad. This one. Oh. Right. Gotta do it like that. That's how you do it. There, now they're ice. And I can turn that back on. And we go back to stamping. This is an average art stream. All right, on to destination. And back to stamping we go. Make sure I'm on the right layer. And I gotta stamp all the way around here. And do all along these edges. Yikes. These edges, at least it's kind of straight, so it shouldn't be too bad, hopefully. Reading chat real quick. Have I checked out Mojo, the programming language? Is that the one that's Python but fast? No, I haven't. I would if I had time. I'm curious about it, but yeah, I'm busy. Do I not care about the orientation of the thing? You're talking about the stamp? Not really. Because, I mean, you can see that it's duplicated if you look closely, but, I mean, it's not too bad. You start drawing on a tiled set and animate your drawings. Nice. I can always turn on the slowest part of the Python code, or turn the slowest part of the Python code to a Python extension. Yeah, although I avoid that with games just because it makes the distribution more complicated, or like because you have to, I just don't know the details, I guess, to some extent, so that's part of the problem, but, I mean, you build it into different files depending if you're on Linux or Windows and stuff like that, so I don't have that much experience there, so I don't want to really deal with the hassle of trying to figure out any potential issues that come from trying to do that in my games. But I mean, most stuff, like if I'm just running it for myself, I would consider that. And I really do need to learn how to properly do that. And look, I know how to do it. It's just I don't know the details when it comes to distribution, especially when you're packaging things and stuff. So, yeah, I've just been kind of avoiding it, and I really don't need it for most things. Because I guess some of the things that might benefit from it are the things where you're interfacing with Pygame. So to go from C to Pygame back to C doesn't really help much. But now, for example, in Yawnoc, there's cellular automata. So if I want to make it bigger and simulate, this is one of the use cases, I guess, where actually I could just run it through a compute shader, never mind. or just a shader of any kind. But cellular automata is a case where running stuff in C could be beneficial. But in the case of Yawnoc, it's a small enough scale still that I don't really need it. It runs fine. Now, it does lag when there's too many visual effects. When there's some chain reactions it can cause, or just everything explodes at once. And that's the case where you can run into some problems. All right, so let's get back to stamping here. I deserve like 1K viewers by now. I mean, I get lots of views on my videos. My live streams, I'm not really... I guess I don't think I'm a very entertaining person for live streams. Most people are coming here to learn and ask questions and stuff like that. So, and the way you get lots of viewers is if you're entertaining. So, or telling interesting stories or whatever. So, people like Pirate Software's the recent example. He'll tell interesting stories and be entertaining, and he has a podcast voice, which is a pretty big advantage when it comes to those type of things. Yes, so there's him, there's there's the Primogen, which my brother was listening to almost religiously for a while, and he has interesting things to share, and he's entertaining. But yeah, I have a drier presentation style, which does not do well in streams. I do better with educational content. Now, it would be cool if I could get 1,000 viewers live. My record is like, I hit like 195 or something, and then YouTube crashed my stream as it was still going up. So I would have crossed 200 at one point, but YouTube made me restart my stream, and I had to drop down to like 120 or something, which was really unfortunate. Yeah, but streaming has never really been my thing. Maybe if I do it, because I'm starting to do it regularly, maybe it will get bigger. Although, I don't know, we'll see. A large reason why I'm doing, why I'm trying to get into the weekly streams is just to, first, so there's something on my channel, because normally I upload every month, maybe. I think maybe a little bit less on average. And then also, it's good to keep things moving on some projects. So like with Pixkartz, it's nice. Right now it's convenient that I have something else to keep my mind busy with while I'm placing all these stamps, because it's very boring. But yeah, just to keep things moving on some projects, it's helpful. Because I mean, like if I didn't have a stream scheduled today, I would probably be playing video games right now. Specifically Pavlov. Either that, or I would be working on that VR thing I was working on yesterday. Yep. And this is where someone was asking me about discipline in the last stream, or maybe it was a couple streams ago. And this is where discipline comes into play. Like once there is a fair bit of discipline in not just starting, switching to a million different projects and actually just finishing stuff. And I mean, Pixkartz, I could release it right now to some degree, just with a couple changes if I wanted to, but I really would like it to have like either 8 or 16 maps. So just getting the practice with discipline is always good. I don't like that shape. Ooh. I'm changing this one too. It's not okay. And it's not okay. I do not like that. So this needs to come out like right there. Actually, I don't want to mess with that really, because that one's... What really needs to happen is just like this section right here. It needs to be like that or something. And then this... why is there a gray pixel? And then this one needs to like come out like that. And that will help. All right. Just some of these edge things up here are, oof. I will do this. I don't know if that's better or worse. We will find out. I'm just trying to make shapes that will lend itself better to me putting the things on it. All right. No, not that one, this one. So what needs to happen is I just go W here and copy these. And then I go over to 5 and paste. That's not correct. Right there. And now I can take this, make this white, and that's back to normal. Now I gotta go grab my stamp again. Please tell me I was stamping on 7. Yes, I was. Good. Stamp's right here. Wait a second. All right. So copy, brush, boom. All right, back to the stamping on layer 7. See, look, now it's much easier to place these stamps on those corners. I really need to think about that more when I'm doing the actual terrain, is how the stamps are going to work. I was doing that on Sandy Oasis a bit better, But on this one, I've not been too good about that. I've been just I just drew some shapes. I was just drawing some shapes and hoping for the best. All right. Here we go. It gets so skinny there. It's a bit awkward. Oh, wait, I just gotta go this way. I forgot about this section. We go all the way around the edge here. So yeah, the water hitboxes aren't great. I might have to just go through on all the maps and fix them. Because it doesn't necessarily match the floor image. Alright, and then I will have to put snow on top of all that. But for now, we're almost done with the first two layers. So all that's left is the bad part. Alright. So I gotta go all the way down here, although I don't have to be as careful because people aren't gonna be looking at this section much unless they're messing around. So I can just quickly run down here and boop, boop, boop. And the hitbox doesn't have to be great either, so I can just do my thing. See, look how fast that is. That's like less than a minute, I think. We're making pretty good time on that. All right. And then, so then there's this one, which is longer. It's like 50% longer, maybe 60. Let's see here. All right. I'm reading chat real quick. Am I in a different room? There's a lot of echo. Yes, there is a lot of echo. I moved into an apartment and I did that thing where I didn't really buy much furniture. And then I also have a vaulted roof, which, because I'm on the top floor, so my ceiling is extremely high. So there's a ton of echoing. Like how many? It's like 15 feet high. I don't know. It's a very tall ceiling. Might as well. Yeah, you could. Yeah, I don't think it's 15 feet because then if it's 15 feet, you'll be able to fit like 2 floors. It's just short of that, so maybe like 14. Something like that. I don't know. But it's lower where I'm sitting, but it's a weird shape. It's probably terrible for the acoustics. And when I was recording, there's a video I'm working on right now for, I guess, just evaluating the value of college degrees. And what I did for that one, I need to start just taking off the microphone and going to my closet or something to record. But what I did for that one is I just put a blanket over my whole setup. So it's just sitting on top of my monitors, my head. And there's still some echo because it was coming out from under me. Like I would be speaking, and then I guess the sound waves would just go down, hit the ground, and then bounce everywhere and come back up from below, even though the blanket was on top. And then you can still hear a little bit of echo in that one. But yeah, it's not the ideal streaming environment, but I'm not living with my family anymore, so that means that you don't hear them randomly making noises either. So it's a different experience for you guys, I guess. But yeah, for streaming, I don't think there's a whole lot I can do. Like I don't think, you know, there's those foam panels you put up for sound just to absorb it. That's not going to help me because most of what's being bounced off is my roof and the really high walls. I would have to pad so much. It's just not the greatest place. Now, if I moved this to my, I guess, the bedroom in my apartment, because I mean, like, what would be the living area, it would be a bit better because there's actually carpet in there. but I don't want to be working where I sleep, so this is the solution for now. I should be moving again probably in about a year, and then I think I'll have less echo. But yeah, for I guess the next year or so, you're gonna have to deal with echoing in my streams. That's just how it is. You didn't know I was streaming? If you're in my Discord server, I always put out the announcement in there. And I guess technically if you subscribe, you can make it so you get notifications for my streams. Something like that. I actually don't have notifications turned on for any YouTubers. There's like no YouTubers that I actually consistently watch, really. So I just don't really have notifications on for anyone, so I don't actually know how that works. Yeah, there's no one that I watch where I'm like, I have to watch their videos as soon as they come out. Like most of them I'm fine waiting till whenever I feel like it, like days later. And then there's also the thing where I guess YouTube doesn't always notify you, and there's all sorts of weird stuff going on there. So it's just, I've gotten into a habit for like channels I'm interested in. I just actually go back to the channel every now and then and see what they've put out, instead of counting on YouTube for that. I don't know, just how I do things. All right, last stamp. So we'll go to layer 5, grab our stamp, boop, go back to layer 7. And we've got a lot of, oh, I messed up. I am getting very hungry. I did not take this into consideration when I was, I should have eaten like something before starting. Because normally I'll eat something by, I don't eat breakfast, but I normally eat, if I'm working, I'll eat like nuts and cheese and seaweed or something by like 11. That's when my lunch break is, because I don't eat breakfast. Or not really break, because I eat while I'm working at my desk, so that I can get out of work as soon as possible. But I normally eat at like 11, so it's like, I'm past that point already. I should have eaten. And the thing is like just my habits aren't up to date, I guess, because when I was in, like when I was in college and stuff, I would be getting up at like 10 a.m. or whatever. Now I normally get up at like 8 a.m.-ish. And when I was getting up at 10, it was fine because I could wait until like 1 p.m. to eat, because I would have only woken up like 3 hours ago. But now it's like I get up at 8 and then I forget to eat lunch at 11, and now it's like 12. So, and now I'm hungry. I can't believe it is the consequences of my own actions. All right. Almost there. This one doesn't have to be perfect. No one's going to be looking at this, hopefully. All right, now this is the one where it matters. How does YouTube crash a 200 stream viewer? Wait. Is that dyslexia if I get the words mixed up? Or is that only the letters? But how does YouTube crash a 200 viewer stream? I don't know. It just stopped, and it was glitched out, and I like restarted or something. It could have been OBS doing something weird. It could have been YouTube. I do remember that I was talking about something that was the color black, and it may have been that because of the things I was saying, YouTube might have interpreted it as race and not, I'm working on this black visual effect, and maybe I said something offensive and it got shut down. I don't know. I don't know what happened there. It was suboptimal. But yeah, I mean, it got shut down, messed up my record viewership. Because I was right when YouTube was pumping more views than I've ever seen, like at like a rate higher than I've ever seen into my one of my videos, and it was the how to, what is it? Oh, the how to code almost anything video. That one was the one that really kind of kicked off my channel's, well, my channel in the algorithm. And when I the algorithm picked it up at one point, and it was giving it, I think, more views than I've gotten per day ever. I don't think I've ever gotten that high again. And it's funny because it only did it for like a couple days, like a day or two, and it got it up to like 100,000 views. I think it's short of 100,000 views. And now it's just everything I make is evergreen, and so it'll hit like hundreds of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views, but it'll take like 3 years. So I haven't been able to catch those rises on the algorithm. But since I did a stream for Wandering Soul, which is what it was around then, because of the game jam, and that just happened to line up, I got tons of viewership. And I think it was also in the early days of YouTube Live, so YouTube was promoting that stuff like crazy. Now I unironically think that because of VTubers, YouTube Live was popularized, kind of, and YouTube stopped pushing it as hard, because it was like, for a little bit, it was completely disproportionate how hard YouTube was pushing the live streams. It's like you just had to live stream, and as long as you had a decent following, YouTube would just pump it out to so many people. I was getting like 50 subscribers every stream for just streaming for like an hour, and now it was insane. Now my streams don't get promoted to new viewers, really. It's just people who are subscribed. I don't know what changed with that algorithm. It definitely wasn't the content. The content has been either the same or better quality since nowadays, except for maybe you could say my microphone, or the audio quality, because the echoing and stuff. There you go. But it's interesting stuff. I did try shorts because I was curious if they were doing the same thing with that, where they were just pumping views into it, and I think they were to some degree, but I think I missed that train. I did it a little bit late. I think I might turn some of my stream clips into shorts, though. That would be interesting. Is this the last bit, or is there more? I don't even know. No, there's more. Just a little bit. There we go. And then there's this section. We're almost done. I've almost talked my way through this really boring section of the map making process. There might be a way to automate this, I don't know. But then there's just random things where you just kind of want to be able to make sure that you get it just right. Like maybe there's a pixel somewhere that looks really funky just because things are just slightly misplaced, and you want to go in there and fix it. And that's, I guess, the main reason for me doing this by hand. Like this pixel right here, or this one. Actually, you might not be able to see that, especially if you're on a phone. All right, so there's a couple spots right here, and oh, there's also this stuff. So I have to go along this side now. And we're almost there. There we go. It is all done. So next is the shadows. So what I normally do is I'll put a shadow along the edges here. And actually something I have to do now is deal with the fact that have all the screen space. Because if I try to generate a shadow right now, I'll get the shadows all along here. So I have to like fill this. Oh boy, I'm gonna have to do some work to clean these up because I got, it's part of the stamp that there's some surrounded pixels that don't get. Yeah, that's gonna be annoying. But yeah, so I gotta fill out all this white here on this level so that when I do generate the shadow, it's actually correct. How do I do it with water normally? Is there a shadow in the water on? Oh, I think I know what to do. I just select the water afterwards and just delete the shadow. But let's turn up my brush size here and we'll just go through and fix all these little stray pixels here. And we should be good. Alright. And if I miss one, you'll just see like a shadow, like a 1 pixel shadow somewhere. Alright. So there's all these little guys. Alright. Is that a green? No, it's not green, but that should probably be filled in. Some of these kind of look like specks on my screen. So I have to do a double take to make sure I'm getting the right stuff. All right, so there's this little trail that goes along here. I need to like clean my screen. Like there's this, for me there's a speck right here. I just pulled it off. My screens aren't like that dirty or anything. It's just a couple things here and there. All right, that's that section. Here's this one. Got a little trail over here. Da-da-da. Yeah. I can play games on stream after a certain amount of time on here. Yeah, that was actually the plan with Pixkartz, is even if there's not really a player base, my idea was to just at the end of streams, just play Pixkartz with whoever's watching, and that would be fun. But that would be after Pixkartz is released, so I'm not going to do that yet. Now, as for just playing games in general on stream, there will be a couple of those soon. I think my next stream is going to be a sponsored stream because I was hired to work on a game. And the guy who hired me is going to pay me to live stream it so you guys can see what that looks like. And I mean, it's sponsored, but also, I mean, it's a game that I worked on for a while, and it actually has some cool lighting effects on it, so it'll be interesting. So it's not like a normal sponsored stream where it's just like someone unboxing a product and showcasing it or whatever. It's like, oh wow, check out this, the dumbest one I got. Check out this neck warmer, like electric neck warmer thing that they sent to me to make a sponsored video on. And they were, the one that, the one I got in my email was straight up, they were asking me to make a dedicated video, and the only thing I would get in compensation is the item I would be reviewing. So there's some really bad offers you get as a YouTuber. I think that, well, the warmer I think had a value of like $100 or something maybe, so it wasn't like that low, but it's still like, I mean, my sponsorships, well, I don't really take anything that's under $1,000 usually, $1,000 on my videos, even though technically based on my average viewership I should. It's just that whenever I make a sponsored video, it usually does really well, so I try to get sponsorships where they'll pay based on viewership rather than my average viewership and them just giving a number based on what they think they'll get. And that way, it's funny because normally they'll be careful about not getting ripped off by paying the flat fee, whereas in my case, it's that I'm getting ripped off if I take a flat fee. All right. What games do I like to play? I actually mostly play VR stuff. So Pavlov, Beat Saber. I've played some, well, I play a lot of League. I haven't been playing it for, I guess, a couple weeks, but play a lot of League of Legends, I guess. And then, yeah, I don't actually play indie games that much, which is funny. In most of the games I do play are multiplayer. And even when I'm playing Beat Saber, there's a multiplayer component to that. So I don't really play single player games, and I don't really play indie games that often, which is funny. And I actually really don't play platformers very often either. What is my game dev to gaming ratio? I would say 1 to 4, probably 4 times as much gaming as I do game dev. Maybe, or is that correct? No, probably not. Because I mean, I've put hundreds, or I mean thousands of hours into. Have I? Well, just off the top of my head, Super Potato Bruh was 100 hours. And then, well, there's the update with World 6 or whatever, which was another like 20 or whatever. And then Drawn Down Abyss was 120. So there's 240 right there. And just thinking back on my game development overall, that's a pretty small portion. And I've done like 20 something game jams, right? And normally I do 14 hours. So 20 by 14 is 280 hours towards game jams. So it's probably, we can round it out and say, because I think I've done over 20 game jams, so it's like 300 and something hours of game jams. Super Potato Bruh and Drawn Down Abyss is 240. So that's over 500 right there. And then I have, most of my time is not game jams or games that I've sold. It's stuff that doesn't ever get finished because I'm mostly just having fun. So that's the stuff is where the most of my time goes. So that easily puts me over 1,000 there. So I've done, I would be surprised if I'm coming up on 2,000 hours of game development. Now, if you compare that to gaming though, let's see. I probably have, if I had to guess, the upper 1,000s of hours on League of Legends. So probably comparable to how much time I've spent making games. And then I have 1,500 hours, or 1,600 hours, I think now, in Pavlov. I have like, is it 300 or 400 in Beat Saber? And that's where most of, I guess, since I've gotten into game development, that's where most of my gaming time has gone, I guess. Early on there's a lot of Minecraft, so you can add on like another 500 hours there. So overall it comes out to 5, I guess maybe 5 or 6,000 hours of, how much does that add up to? 6,000 over 10 years, so over 365 by 10. Okay, that's not too bad. That sounds about correct. So in the last 10 years, averaging a bit over an hour and a half of gaming a day. That sounds about right. Yeah. And then, so on average, so we're talking about game development, I've probably done, what was it saying, upper 2,000s? Yeah, upper 1,000, we'll call it 2,000 hours of game development. Which, it's funny if you think about it, for 10 years, it's not a whole lot. Half an hour a day. Yep, that sounds about right. Now, there's a lot of time where I'm just kind of passively thinking about it while I'm doing other things, but yeah, that's how much that comes out to. And I guess that could be inspiring for some people to see, oh, you just need half an hour a day for 10 years. It's not a lot. And then you can have some cool skills, because it's not just like coding. It's, for me, it's also the artwork and the music and other things I've been learning. So, and I mean, some of it's business as well. So there's lots of useful things I've picked up in the half hour a day. Now, this is not including the time I put into making YouTube videos either, though. So, But yeah, it's kind of what it looks like. So between these two things, though, you could say in the last 10 years, I've averaged over 2 hours a day of game dev and gaming. So, and I did say 1 to 4. I was close. It looks like it's 1 to 3 point something. Yeah, it's an interesting statistic, though. Switching from a condenser mic to a dynamic mic can help reduce echo because dynamic mics are generally less sensitive to ambient noise from in-room acoustics. What is a condenser mic? I'm using a field mic. Is that a condenser mic? I don't think I'm using a condenser mic. Wait, so what's the other one? A dynamic mic. I look at the pictures on both of them and they look the same, so the form factor doesn't appear to be... Wait, no, a condenser mic has... Wait, the condenser mics look like they have more of the top that mine has, the shape, where it's like a little... What? I guess it's almost rectangular. I don't think that has anything to do with the technology inside it. Maybe it's just a trend on how they... I don't know. But I'm using a field mic. I've got the here we go. Oh yeah. The Zoom H2 handy recorder. Oh yeah. This is my microphone. I just hooked it onto my microphone arm, and I mean it's a field recorder, I think, right? So it's not meant for this. It is really, really good at picking up the echoes, and the louder I talk, the more echoes you're gonna hear. So the echoes are probably way worse on this stream than my last one, because my last one was all sleepy and wasn't talking too loud. But yeah, that's my microphone. I need to get a new one. Like, I could get a pretty nice microphone with just 1 month of YouTube ad revenue, because right now my YouTube ad revenue is like $450 a month. It's funny because it seems like it's been going up. Like the ad rates, I think, have been going up a lot this year, which is interesting. I'm not sure. I think for a while it was going up just because of inflation, which it's funny because doing YouTube during a time of inflation is nice, just because my pay gets updated pretty much immediately as inflation happens. But I'm also at the whims of the ad market. So like, there's the whole thing where the end of November is the best time to be getting views, because that's when the ad rates are the highest. But the ad rates this year have been going up a lot. Actually, I don't know if it's the ad rates or just the fact that I'm leaning more into, or some of my recent videos have been more longer form. So I have my 6-hour tutorial. That one gets lots of money per view because the average view duration is so long, so they see more ads. And then there's the 10 years one, which is also pretty long, so that one has a pretty high rate. Although I noticed that my now most popular video, the one about how to get into game dev, is that one has a really high ad rate on it too. I'm not sure why. It seems like the videos where I take sponsorships end up getting high ad rates on top of that. It's almost like YouTube looks at the topic and sees, oh, you're talking about some sponsored product. Or maybe the idea is that if you have a sponsorship already where a sponsor agreed to pay you for the video and you flag it as such, YouTube knows that you're making something that should probably be advertiser friendly. So advertisers would probably be more open to putting stuff on that content, maybe, and that's why it's higher. I don't know. It's weird. Good audio though. You did not notice the echo. I feel like it's kind of painfully obvious. I don't know. Also, hopefully I'll update once I'm done with this next collab here. Hopefully I'll update my stream setup, and one of the things is getting the music going again, and that will kind of hide the echo a bit. I wonder if there's a plugin I could get for OBS, because I mean, I know you can run your stuff through an EQ. Actually, I'm pretty sure I can EQ out a lot of the echo. I don't have my EQ on this one because I switched computers, and my old computer I did have an EQ set up with OBS by default, and now there's none, so this is just the raw audio. So I need to do that, and I could look and see if there's a plugin that would help with the echo, but there's a lot of stuff I need to set up with OBS. I need to get chat back. I need to get the music going. I don't have my scene set up, so I'm just on one scene right now, so I'm just manually switching between like different sources. So lots of stuff needs to be done there that I just haven't had time for. You finished the ninja game? That's an old one. Or are you saying you finished the ninja game tutorial, or you finished playing Lollipop Ninja? Because they're very similar. They're both ninja games. I don't know. What's my first game? Look at my 10-year video. I showed it on there. Launching Python terminal, just their calculator, never thought to do nothing for the tip. Yeah, so the Windows calculator is terrible. Like, well, I mean, it's all right, but you can't really see what you're doing. So if I do, like, just for example, I did the, what was it? What was the math? So I was doing like the 2000 divided by, and I can't do the way I was doing is I did the parentheses. You can't do the parentheses on this. Now maybe if I changed this I could, but so I would have to write 2000 divided by 365 divided by 10 to get the number, which is awkward, and you can't see the full history there. So the Python doing that in the Python shell is just better. Now, can I do it in here? So can I do 2000 divided by, oh, I can. And then I could do 365 times 10. And that's how I think about it mentally. So it's easier to do that than to dividing twice. But then if you type 1 plus 1, you lose your history. So it's just nicer to be in Python. Anytime I crunch some numbers, I just pop up a terminal. I do that at work too. It's funny watching people struggle with the Windows calculator at work. Condenser / dynamic, it's an inside thing. Yeah, I know it's an inside thing. I was just wondering if you could tell from the form factor externally, because sometimes it could, well, for a lot of things, the externals imply some stuff about the internal. So I was just trying to figure out, based on the ones I've seen, what is what, but it looks like you can't really tell. But yeah. You have an H4n and it has 2 condenser mics on top. It records everything. Yeah, well, it sounds like that's a newer version of what I have, but yeah, so this one is actually a really good microphone for recording ambience outside, and I live in Florida, so there's some pretty good ambience outside. So it's been a nice mic for game development stuff, just doing a lot of Foley stuff. I guess for Foley, some things you want, I guess what would be a dynamic microphone. And then some things you want what I have, the Zoom H2. And it just depends, but it's been really useful for a lot of things that I've had to record, I think. But yeah, for video and stream audio, it's not great. I had a friend in college who's in audio encouraging me to get a different microphone. You struggle with the default calculator too. I mean, I think you kind of have to. Maybe if you use it all the time, you wouldn't as much, but so you don't have all that history, and it's just not, it doesn't have as many features. And then there's the people that actually start clicking the buttons instead of just typing it, and that takes forever. Playing something you built yourself is an awesome feeling. Yeah. It is, but then also you know how all of it works, so there's no I guess mystery and surprise and the element of exploration, really. I mean, there can be with like procedurally generated stuff, but then you know kind of the bounds of what can happen, so it's not as interesting. And that's actually why I think there's the genres where there's a reason why roguelikes are so popular, and it's because for the game developer, it's probably one of the most fun genres to work on because it's going to be different every time, and it doesn't get as boring to be playtesting and stuff like that. Whereas if you're making like a story-based game, you're playing the same segment like 100 times, and it gets really boring. It's the exact same every time, and oof. So that's why I don't do that stuff. And also, typically those games are more dependent on the artwork and stuff, so I would prefer to not do that. Whereas roguelikes, it's a lot more... This is another thing that contributes to so many indie games being roguelikes and stuff. It's a lot more dependent on the mechanics, and it's more code dependent, which works out well for me. Yeah. I should make a multiplayer game from scratch in assembly. No, thank you. All right. So last step here, I gotta turn on the shadows. So the way this works, I think I gotta merge these two. And this one, yeah, that one. So to merge these three all together, merge down. So now that all of these are together, here's what happens. Actually, you know what? I don't want to do that second merge down because some of these go over here and I want there to be a second shadow there. So I just want these together and then I'll do the outline with that. So I take the darkest color and then I turn down the opacity to like, I think 170-ish. And then here's the magic part. I hit Shift O and do that, and I do it 3 times. And then I go over here, Shift O, Shift O, Shift O. And then I turn on lower layer, and look at that. Actually, you know what? I think I did it a little bit dark. Man, I almost wish I did it this dark on the actual game because it looks kind of cool like that. But yeah, I did it too dark. So I gotta undo all that. And we try again. I don't remember what the exact, I should have written this down. I don't know what the exact alpha was. So all the shadows are gonna be different strengths on different levels. I'll do 110 and see what happens. I think it'll definitely stand out more on this map because it's lighter colors, so maybe it should need a different strength. Oh, I just did that on the wrong layer. It should be on 7, right? Yeah, 7. So do that. And then we go over to 6 and do it again. Yeah, look at that. That looks more like it. Like what I'm used to. Alright. Did I do 3 or 2 before? I don't remember. Whatever, it looks fine. How's this looking? And this is why this image is why the finish line's on the track, is because I want the shadows to go over the edge there. But so the last step here, I need to get rid of the outlines that have ended up over here, because if I turn this off, you can see they're right here, and that will actually change the color so that the it'll mess up the water. It won't look right. It'll have some weird borders on it. So I actually have to go in here and then disable these. So let's take out our magic wand and we select all the water sections. This is, I think that gets all of it, right? All right, now you turn on this layer, you switch over to it. Oh, wait a second. I can't just trim it like that. That's not how you do that. Oof. Yeah, that's why you duplicate the layer before you do this. I did it wrong again. This is where the problem solving comes in. And I was not paying attention because I've done this so many times I thought I had it under control. But apparently not. So let's undo all this stuff here. Again. And what has to happen, I don't think that, let me see, I don't think these things are going to cross into the water at all. I think, yeah, the boost should be, no, they will. But they have the same bounds as everything else down here. So I can just take this layer. No, this one. And we can duplicate it. So all I have to do now, I can take this one and I can do my Shift O thing on it. And then we go over to 6 and we Shift O, Shift O, Shift O. And the purpose of this copy layer right here is so that I can just take my W brush, right, the selection tool, grab all this, and then go over to this layer. Oh wait, no, that's not right. That's not how you do it. You go to 5. Wait, no, you do 5 plus 7, and you grab this. There we go. Oh wait, do I have to merge them in? Okay, so we have to duplicate 5. We put it up by 7 here. We merge these down into one layer. So I do have this backup one right here. That's gonna be the finished one, but I don't need that. So we take this one right here, select it like that. So it's the actual edges of the water. Now we go over to 7 and look at that. Now I can just do boop, and it gets rid of all the shadows that were over the water. And then I can go over to, I need the bounds back, so I have to reselect it again. Oh. So now go over to 6, and then we do the same thing. Most of these are not going to have any change, but that's just to make sure it's correct. Now I can delete that extra layer, and then we can turn on all of our layers again, and boom, the shadows do not go into the water, and that should be the track. All right, we can almost play the game again. So the first thing, I didn't change any of the other things on the extra layer, so I just have to take this one. We gotta export as it's not correct. Images, maps, and we'll do frosty iceberg terrain. Yes. Export. Yes. And then we turn on 5 and 7 and 6. And then we go, that's not what I meant to do, whatever. Export as, and we'll say this one is gonna be floor.png. Export, yeah. All right, now I think if I left the server running, did I leave the server running? Yes, I did. And here we go, what the? There we go. Here's the new track texture. We're gonna see some weird stuff with the fences, I think. Actually, wait, no, that's fine so far. I'm just looking to see where the fences go into places they shouldn't. So the ice will need ice physics. That's one of the things I need to do. Probably will save that for later, but so here's the little ice platforms, and I'm just gonna check over here. So here's that one item box for those who, so this fence right here needs to be fixed. That one needs to be fixed. I was thinking right here, that's pretty close. I'll have to change that one too, since I'm changing them anyways. And I'll go change that stuff when I am adding the ice pillars and stuff, and maybe the penguins. So I'm gonna go model that stuff in Magica Voxel next, and then I think what I'll do for this stream is I'll put in the ice pillars, and I don't know, I might be able to get the penguins in, we'll see. I might run a little bit long on this stream. Well, I've been streaming for 2 hours, that's not too bad. Normally my streams are like 3 and 4 hours, but I do have some stuff to do today, so it's not ideal to be going too long. But I do like the way it looks now. The ice is a little bit green, but that's just the palette, so. Unless I want to break the palette, there's not a whole lot I'm gonna be able to do about that. So yeah, I'm happy with that. So we'll move over to the next step, which is the 3D models for the sprite stacks. Yay. I'm just gonna read chat real quick though. What programming languages do I program in? Languages do I program in? I know a lot of the major ones, and I've used a lot of the major ones for both school and just messing around. So I mean, well, obviously Python, C, C++, Java, Lua. Actually, wait here. Let me just pull up my thingy. I have a list. It might not be entirely up to date, so I might have to correct it. But if I go onto my website and just, yeah, preferred languages: Python, JavaScript, C, C++. Python is on a completely different level for me than the JavaScript, C, and C++ parts. But I mean, for employment purposes, I'd say these four. But I also know Lua, Java, Kotlin, Perl, PHP, Bash, and shell script. I'm trying to think if there's anything I'm missing there. I think that's the main ones. Yeah. Well, I've done a little bit of C# and a little bit of Haskell and a little bit of TypeScript, but not enough to put it here. I've actually done a project with PHP for school. So I can find my way around that to some degree. And then Perl, I needed that for work, which I am trying to replace all of that so I don't have to touch that anymore. Kotlin was my senior design project, so I did a lot of that, and then same thing with Java, was Java and Kotlin I was doing. I also did Java for some other classes, and I also learned it before going to school as well. And then Lua, I know it for some dumb reasons. What is it? Is it computer craft or something in Minecraft where you have to use Lua? But also, I mean, I've looked into Love2D a fair bit. I think I did use it just a little bit. So I know the basics of Lua as well. I don't like it because you have to type like end at the end of your loops or whatever. Was it end if or end while? I don't remember. I'm trying to remember. It's actually been a long time since I've done any Lua. That's the one that's been... I think it's been longer since I've used Lua than since I've used PHP. I have not used Lua in like 4 or 5 years. But yeah, you have to type like... I know in Bash it's like end if, for example. I think that's what it is. Is it end if and end while? Or is it just end? I don't remember. But it's really annoying to do that. I would take curly braces over that any day. But then I like Python more, where it's just indentation based for your code blocks. Yeah. So, I mean, at this point, programming languages are not really an issue for me. I mean, really, the language itself is not the issue. The part that's hard is when you jump into... I don't know if environment's the right word, but it's the way that different languages handle their packages or whatever, their modules, their libraries, whatever you want to call them. That gets different for all of them, and just how you resolve conflicts in them. Like, for example, when I'm doing JavaScript, I'm still not really used to NPM, and I get conflicts all the time, and it's such a pain. With Python, I feel like it just kind of works most of the time. And I think part of the issue with JavaScript is that people use so many packages for things, and so many packages are built on each other that it's so much easier for there to be conflicts than it is with Python, where a lot of things are just built on things that were originally made in C, and they're not really building on each other as much. So things are more likely to work together well and not just break because one thing needs one version of... you don't have as many dependencies, because what happened in JavaScript for me a lot, and I mean, there may be a better way to deal with this, I don't know, is that I would need, for some things I was working on, I would need some package, and that package is only available in certain, or no, that package requires dependencies of another, or requires a dependency of another package to be in a specific version. And then there's another package you need that requires that same base package, but it requires a version that does not overlap with the first one at all. So in theory, you would need two separate versions. And I don't know if maybe there's a way to do that, but I didn't really see how to do that. And I didn't spend too much time looking into it, but it's such a pain when that happens. And that doesn't really happen as much with Python because people are building the base libraries in usually C or something like that. Or usually they're, even if they're not doing that, they're usually just using Python and maybe the base libraries like sockets and stuff like that to come with it. And then then you don't end up with that situation where you have two packages you need the same dependency of different versions. So it ends up working a lot nicer. But anyways, so there's all that stuff around the programming language that makes it harder, and that's where I guess I'm better with my preferred languages than my other known languages. So like I'm familiar with the whole build process to some degree. Like I can do make files and all that stuff, and I'm a bit rusty at this point, but the build process for C and C++ took me longer to learn than learning C and C++ and all the memory management and all the pointers and stuff itself. Which is kind of funny, but that's just kind of how it is. And that's how it ends up being for a lot of other languages. So I know Java has a lot of, like, the way that Java works, when you make a project, there's all sorts of things that kind of go into what a project is or whatever, aside from just the code, that can make it complicated. I know you can, like, is compile even the right word for Java? I don't even know if it's correct. But whatever, I'll say you can compile Java, like just a single file pretty easily, but when things get more complicated, it's sort of like the make files from C and C++, it gets a bit confusing, and not familiar with that too much. And I don't really want to work with Java just because of the whole, the JVM thing. It's a bit annoying. And like you make a small application and suddenly you're using hundreds of megabytes of someone's RAM. And then Kotlin's, similar situation. Kotlin's nicer to work with. I've only used Kotlin for mobile app development though, where everything's already in a nice environment where you don't really have to worry about how the build process works and stuff like that too much. And then Kotlin, it's also nicer syntax than Java. It's less verbose, I feel like, and just nicer in general. So I'll take Kotlin over Java any day. But I don't know how it is on its own. I haven't tried that. I haven't even looked into it. If it's thing, for all I know, you could only use it for app development. I don't even know because that's all I've used it for. I spent many hours doing app development with it, but I haven't looked into it outside of that. It's just, I have to use Kotlin. Okay, I'll figure out as I go then. Perl, I had to mess with the packages on that a bit. It's not too bad. I feel like the Perl one, the main issue is just that everything's so old. But I think fundamentally it's kind of similar to Python, and I think it filled that kind of role in the whole automation thing, and it did a lot of things that people use Python for nowadays, and I think the package manager was maybe somewhat similar. I don't remember too well. I didn't really have any issues with conflicts and stuff like that, but yeah, every one of these languages will end up having kind of like an environment around it that makes it a lot more complicated than the syntax of the language. The syntax of the language is really easy. After a certain point, even jumping into functional programming languages like Haskell, it wasn't that difficult for me to get into. The hard part for me is always just figuring out how all the stuff around it works. But yeah, that's that. Such clean code. You're seeing, I would not call this clean code. Whatever. Maybe down here more so. Actually, no, this whole project I would not say is clean code. There's so much chaos going in Pixkartz. I have some nicer looking projects, I guess, but this is not one of them. Maybe you think it's clean because you're looking at all the imports right here. I don't know. Do I currently have a programming job? Yes, I do. If you actually, I don't know if I say on that page what my current job is. But yeah, I work on hardware. Hardware that goes into rockets. Although I'm writing embedded software for it and doing other stuff around that. And that other stuff is all pretty much in Python. So I do Python and C++ for work. No, I do not work for Google. I know a bunch of people that work for Google. I do not work for Google. I did not have any luck in my big tech applications, but I think it ended up working out for me because I got a pretty good arrangement with where I work right now. And I think overall, I'm just the type of person that would be happier working for a small company. When you're just working on your small little part at a bigger company, and it's a lot more boring. Whereas with my job right now, we build the hardware in-house. I get to write the code that goes directly onto the unit. I get to put it on the units, and then I get to write all the code that goes around that as well. So I get to write the code to make sure that it works, and to automate things, and to do all sorts of other stuff. So I do some web development for that job as well, even. So everything from embedded software to web development, I'm there writing the software for the whole process for what goes into that product, which is a lot more complicated than most products because it's stuff that's going into space. But it's just a lot more, I think, interesting to work on something where you get to see the whole picture and you get to be involved in the whole picture, which is something that usually only happens at smaller companies. I mean, it can happen at larger companies, but you still, I think, even if you're working on one project and you're doing all the things within that project, usually the project's going to be kind of smaller, and because of, I don't know, procedures and other overhead stuff, it ends up being that even though it is one kind of self-contained project you might be working on, it's still not, you're not seeing a lot of interesting problems. I don't know. Then again, that's just my speculation. I have not worked for a larger company. The largest company I worked for was like 50 people. So, that one, the company I work for right now, we've got like, 1, 2, 3, 3.5 people on software. And the company, the biggest company I worked for had, I think, maybe 20 people on software. But yeah, that's the biggest I've gone, so I have no clue. I've talked to people that have worked for those bigger companies, though, but yeah, it's interesting stuff. Have I tried making Python Pygame projects for mobile platforms? I know there's, I know people are talking about something in the Pygame Discord server where you can do that. I'm not interested in that. I'm just not interested in that medium, really. I don't play apps, I don't play games on my phone. There's one exception. I play Risk on my phone. That's fun, but I don't, like, when I'm bored in public, I don't pull out games on my phone. Because I don't like that level of, like, when I'm playing video games, I prefer it to be really, I guess you could say, immersed, because I play VR games. And just putting all my attention into the game and not just trying to do it to pass time. I don't really like the games where you're just trying to pass time. And that's what most mobile games are. If I'm taking the effort to get fully invested in a game, I don't want to be playing it on my phone on a tiny screen with touch controls. It's not a good experience, in my opinion. So it's just not the type of stuff I'm interested in making or playing, so I just don't do it. Is it good practice to make simple code templates with AI to work off from? Off of just my speculation, I would go with no. I have not used so in my now most popular video, I promoted tab 9, which is an autocomplete tool, which when I promoted it was mostly just for single line autocompletion, which it was really good at. My license expired on that, though. They gave me like a year, and then they gave me, I think, another year at some point. Maybe, I don't remember. But then it expired, so I don't really. I was on the free version, which gives you like what 5 completions a day or something. And they were for a while offering it for free to students, but then I think they ended that. And that's one of the things I pointed to in my video. But so that I found very useful, but I haven't actually looked into things like Copilot where it writes blocks of code for you, and I don't know much about the quality of that. I think the stuff it writes there, the idea is that it writes stuff within one file. So when it does it on that scope, you're not getting the code structure, the important code structure you would get from doing file to file stuff, because it is limited to one file, at least to my knowledge. And just the scope of it is to be implementing, I think more so just not necessarily one function, but code to do one specific thing, usually, is what you'll ask it to do, I think. And it might give you some stuff that's useful, but it might also write some bad code. And then structurally, when everything starts having to connect together, I don't think it does that yet. So I wouldn't use that as a learning reference. I think if you want to learn, it's better to go look at sources that you know are good code bases and to learn from that if you want to do that. In my case, I have not done that. I am learning by experience, which means that I have a very different take on how code structure should be than most people. And I did say, I was saying for the longest time, I didn't want to make a video about code structure because I don't know much about it. And I'm at the point where, I don't know much about traditional code structure, but I do know about, I do know the object-oriented principles and how you're supposed to kind of do that stuff, but I kind of disregard that. I have my own way of doing things, which saves me a lot of time, and I'm still learning, but I'm learning through experience, and I think to some degree it's a benefit to not think, oh, this is the standard of how to do it, certain things, and especially in game development, when most of the people that write all these books and stuff about code structure and stuff are working on projects that are not game development. Game development tends to have a very different code structure than other software projects. So just kind of figuring it out as I go. And I mean, a lot of it would depend on your language as well. So specifically when you take the fact that I'm doing game development, which is already kind of needing its own code structure, and the fact that I'm doing Python, and no one's really making big games with Python, there's not really any resources for how you would do that anyways. But so I am kind of figuring it out as I go. And the important thing with code structure is really not how nice does it look, it's how well does it read if you're working with other people. But since I'm working with myself, it doesn't really matter that much as long as I can remember what things do. And the big thing though is that if you have a change of direction with how something should work in the future, that you don't have to rewrite a bunch of code. And to do that effectively, even when you know traditional code structure stuff, and this is where I think I start to disagree with even some of the traditional code structure stuff, is that it's actually maybe it's not so much with an issue with how people propose structuring stuff in general. It's just people trying to get into it and force those ideas in without understanding, I guess, why you need to be doing certain things and the benefits of doing things certain ways down the road. But what happens is people will try to use those, I guess, the guidelines for code structure, and then they'll over abstract something, for example, and then they'll lock themselves into a box, and then they have to rewrite everything later, or do some really strange hack to work around what they already wrote because some things didn't, some requirements changed or something like that. So flexibility is important, but you also need to know how flexible you need to be and how much time it takes to make your code flexible in the way that it needs to be. And that just comes from experience, not just knowledge of code architecture, but like knowing what could happen to the project and the types of directions it could take and how long it could take you to write certain things. So there's a lot that goes into it that I think really needs to be developed into an intuitive sense. So I don't know. It's an interesting topic that I should probably make a video on. But it's one of those things where a lot of people might get angry about that, because I've met a lot of people in the software industry that really take their code structure seriously. I think there are people that in the software industry that, and I mean, some of this is because this is just what they find interesting about the field, but there are people that I guess take pride in what they do out of how their code looks and just how it's architected, more so than what it does. So, and those people are the people that might get really mad about an unconventional take about code structure. And I've always come from the, I guess, functional perspective of programming, where I care about the results. I'm not talking about functional programming. I'm talking about I care about what I am making more so than how I make it. And I'm not super invested into what my code structure is. I don't care if my code's super nice, really. Well, actually, no, I was having a little bit of fun with the networking stuff. I was doing some stuff in Python that I normally don't do. And actually, it's probably really bad structure, but I'm trying to make it so that it is, and I guess this is a functional thing because the end product is a module that other people can use. But I'm trying to make it so that it's as easy to work with as possible, and you write the least code as possible to work with it, so that you basically don't notice that it's there. And so I was having fun with that. And so I was doing some interesting stuff with Python and how some of the weird features you can use for that, which I want to get around to finishing when I have some time, but that's on the back burner for now. I don't know. I forgot what I was talking about with that. But yeah, I just kind of structure things as I go. Anyways, back to this. I keep going on tangents, and I should probably stop going on tangents, or else I am going to be here for a while. So magic of voxel, please. Magikarp, no, magic of voxel. All right, so I need an ice pillar. I'm trying to think. I'm trying to remember what the dimensions are. Hold on. So if I go images, blocks, I need, there's a, is it wall? Or mountain? Mountain. That's it. This is the one that has dimensions. So it's 20 by 20 is what I'm looking for. So we'll do 20 by 20 here. I'm thinking at this point I won't do the penguins, but I will just do this thing and then clean up the tiles, and then I'll leave the penguins and the ice for later. So the parts that make the ice map, I will probably leave for another stream, which might end up being short. I don't know. We'll see. But can I just, yeah, I can do that. Okay, that's cool. How do I, so I'll attach and then paint later. So I need a 20 by 20, and then I don't want it to be 20 tall. I'll do 40 for now, and then I'll shrink it. Really? I forgot. This is one of those things where the third number is the vertical axis. Anyways, so I want an ice spike. You know, like ice spikes in Minecraft. So I'm just going to put, it's not a great way to do this. I think I'll do the central pillar first. I'll kind of meet it in the middle and then build around it. So just gonna do this. And then that goes down to here. I just need a cube of decent size. And then, so this will turn into it. I mean, this is a bit, no, there. Whatever, that's close enough. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered. And now I can do this stuff. So it should start thinning out up here. I'm gonna use a funny pattern for thinning it out. Just wait, no, I messed up. So if you do that, you can like switch going back and forth which one you thin out. And you can see it, I guess, in the game, but this is the easiest, the fastest way to draw something like that. There we go. So there's a little spike there, and I can like stick it out a little bit. Just add a little bit of extra stuff right here just to do that. And then I could make some stuff stick out the side too, but for now, this looks like the Empire State Building. Or is it? Am I thinking of the right one? It does. It's got the... Here, let me just... That shape just makes me think of the Empire State Building, maybe. Kinda. It looks like that. There's also that one... There's another building I'm thinking of that has more curvy stuff on it. I don't know what I'm thinking of. I don't think it's even in New York. It might not be. I don't know the name of it, but it kind of reminds me of too. Anyways, I'm not making a building, I'm making an ice spike. So let's put on these thingies. I think this is, I can put on like a random orientation on these, like so they'll be spun in a random direction. And then what I can do, can I just select all? And I can just like, yeah. So I wanna, oh wait, this is some weird stuff later once I forgot about that. Anyways, so I'm gonna make it like stick out on the side here. That would be cool. So we just like keep stacking it like that. Check that out. All right, so now we just gotta round it out a little bit. These things don't have to be perfect. I don't think you really notice them, especially if it's a lot of the same colors. Actually, wait, I'm gonna have to like put the shine on this so that I think some of the shapes are gonna be a little bit more obvious than I like. Whatever. So we'll just go out this way, kind of like the cactus. And just trying to smooth this thing out a little bit. Check that out. And then, so now if I change the shape of this one right here a bit, especially if I erase some stuff, how do I... Can I erase from here? I can't. Why is it that the stuff I selected is what I can't edit? I don't understand that. Anyways. So let's just erase some of the stuff out of here. And actually, it's fine if it's not too clean. I just don't want floating pixels. All right. Because I think in reality these formations aren't super clean. You're gonna be a little bit ragged. There we go. There we go. Almost there. How's that looking for an ice spike type structure. Ah. Let's attach some on the top here. Just make it spikier. That's looking pretty good. We've got a little bit of overhanging pixels here I want to clean up a bit. And there we go. Turn this into a little spike too. So these will be rotated randomly and placed on the map. Now for the coloring. How do I load a palette? Open. Huh. It just pulls from a PNG, which means I think I can just go stuff, Pixkartz, data, images, and just pull from here. All right. So here's the bright color. I can just flood fill that, right? And then I just take the white, because it's just gonna be shiny, and just start painting streaks, I think. How do I, wait. I don't want a tool. It's the eyedropper. How do I just not have a tool? Wait. I'm lost. So there's the paint bucket, but then what if I don't want to use the paint bucket? Region select, region. Do I just like do that and then I can, no. How do I brush? Why? I get stuck on the dumbest thing on Magic of Voxel. How did I get back to where I was? That's the render, no. What? Tool. Where was that thing where it was like paint or why is it just brush? What did I do to my Magic of Voxel thing? Why? Because it was like add, erase, and that stuff. So like what happens if I select now? None of these things give me those options back. What? Nope, that's animation. It's console. Where did they go? I guess I'll read chat, maybe someone has an answer in there. No? It would be cool if your dancing avatar actually moved its mouth when you talked. It does. And it's super accurate. The only problem is that I don't actually move my mouth very much when I talk. I have a bad habit of just talking without moving my lips. Especially when I'm talking quietly. So that's something I need to work on, is just making my lips move when I talk. So the tracking's, I think, better than what most people have on their like VTuber avatars and stuff. But it's just that I don't move my mouth when I talk, and I mumble a lot. So, and actually that's something that YouTube has helped with. How do I get my brushes back? You know, I'm gonna save this and open this back up and hopefully it comes back. So I'm gonna put this Pixkartz data, which is voxel, and this will be ice. And I will close it and open it back up. And hope it, yeah, there it is, it's back. Where did it go before? It's weird. I don't know what happened. Was it a bug? Or did I click something I shouldn't have clicked? Whatever. Oh, wait, where did the suction? So I clicked this before. But this is below. So there's this thing. Before I was just seeing this section and that section. So all this stuff right here was missing. What happened to it? I do not understand. All right. Oh, so it's an option aside from attach race of paint. These are the extra stuff. Why was it missing before? So I can flip through these and huh? Yeah, I do not know what happened there. All right. How to do this? I'm not sure how, because there's a way I could make it look really good, but then it would be so tedious to actually paint it. I'm tempted to just do like vertical streaks everywhere. On like, especially the corners. Because that's where you would see these things in real ice. So that's what I'm doing for now, I guess. And I have no idea if this is going to look good in game. Whatever happens, happens. I feel like I still don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to art. I know how to do a few things pretty well, but this is definitely not one of them. Especially like, I don't do 3D stuff much often. So I'm not used to thinking about things in that sort of way. And it's even weirder when you consider the fact that this gets sprite stacked later. So it really does end up looking strange. I mean, this isn't terrible. I think could be better. There we go. I mean, that looks all right. I don't know how I feel about the only vertical thing that I had going on there. That's just the easy way to draw it. I mean, I could just like, I think if I just put like specks everywhere, that might actually improve the visual quality. So I'm just gonna put some specks everywhere, just randomly, kind of. I've not held my 3D artwork on this project to a very high standard, if you haven't noticed. It's just kind of whatever happens, happens. Generally don't bother going back and changing that stuff, because I mean, it looks all right. As long as I stick to the palette, and I'm not terrible about shapes, should be all right. I do want to do something with this darker section here. Can I like... How bad? Oh, that's bad. Yeah, I think I might just leave that. Yeah, that's good enough. So I'll save that and we will export. So this, for those of you wondering how I do this, I go to export, slice, and we'll go stuff. And let's do Pixkartz data. Images, blocks, and the way I do this is I go in here and I say ice spike. If I look at the gravestone, for example, you can see split up into layers here. This will just export as one image. So I save that, and then now if I go over here, I have this interesting script right here. Can I open with idle? No, I can't. Can I open a terminal here? Yes, I can. That's something in Windows 11 that I like. Where? So this goes to, where did I put it? Ice spike. So look at this. This is what it looks like. I have to use this thing. I don't remember how this works exactly. Let's pull up this. So we've got that. We just do pi split.pi, and then it takes a couple arguments. It takes a path. So let's do ice spike slash ice.png layers. So that would be 40, I believe. And that's all it needs. So it pops up for a Pygame window for like a fraction of a second there while it does this thing, because you actually have to have a Pygame window open to do some stuff with Pygame for some reason. I think there's a way to do it without maybe, but I didn't bother. So here's the thing. Now I just delete the top layer because I don't need that one. I don't need that. Close all that. Just make sure that it's not upside down or anything. Looks good. And I will search for gravestone. Actually, no, cactus is better, right? I don't want it in there. Here we go. So this needs to know all the physics tiles. So we have our ice spike now. How did it name this? Okay, I named it properly, good. And then random rotation. It needs to know that the ice spike gets randomly rotated. All right. That should hopefully be all I need to be able to start using that block. Now I can go over to my editor and start doing the magic. All right. So I can start putting down these thingies. And I think I had the barrels here. I'm gonna leave those there. So we have our ice spikes. Oh, I need to fix the fences too. So let's do the fences real quick. So along here, this one's fine. This is all good. Just careful about that when I update that one. This is all fine. This is all fine. All good, all good. This is the one that's bad. Yikes. All right. So we'll go up like this. And start curving here. And we will, I guess, close it off like that. I'm tempted to just go over here and just, I don't know. Well, I guess before it was like this, right? And we had that right there. So if I press T, that'll auto tile it. And that's all good. So right here, this is a problem. And this is where I might run into a bit of a problem. It's right here, trying to figure out how I'm going to squeeze this in. There we go. That'll do it. I'm going to save this real quick, because nothing else really changes. All right. Now we can do these. So lots of ice spikes. And then I also want mountains. Actually, I should do these first. So I think it's the white ones and then these ones. Is that how that goes? Which one's the tall one? One is tall. So there's mountain 2. That one's 40 tall, and this one's 20 tall. So is mountain 2 the dark one or the light one? So that one gets light near the top. This one does not. Okay, so I do this one and I put in the light one later. So the mountains are just block thingies, pretty much. They add a lot of shape to the environment. Makes it more immersive. All right, so I will just draw some random shapes in here, just so that the higher mountain shapes are more interesting, and then I will fill the rest of this in with these ones. And because of the way the stacking works, you don't actually see these little crosses in the middle, the pluses or whatever, because you'll see the side of them instead. And you don't notice it because of the colors that I use, so they're not, when they're connected, that they're not actually square and filling it out all the way. But then that makes the corners look nice. Anyways, so I also need some over here maybe. Just put in a couple tall ones maybe. And then we need, I guess over here we could have a little bit of mountain. A little bit of mountain. And I don't know if I have physics on these things or not. I don't know if I can just stick them outside of the fenced area. I'm gonna go with no for now. And then I'll put like some stuff right here, just for people to look at maybe. And let's put some right here. We can put like some tall stuff right there. And boop, boop, there we go. We'll put like 2 tall ones right there. All right, so the rest is just the ice spikes. And then when I get the penguins done, the penguins. So I just put these everywhere, pretty much. That's the idea. Just put them everywhere. Hopefully they look good. Normally I make these things and they end up looking pretty decent. So even though they don't look very good from a top-down perspective, just the 3D shape helps a lot. So hopefully this is the same and it looks fine. It would be funny if I just put a tree somewhere, just a singular tree. I'm tempted to just place a tree. Because why not just randomly put a tree in here, or a stump? I could put like an actual stump. Yeah, that actually fits in. Now, if I really wanted to go ham, I could set up an actual full tree. That would be fun. But it just has no leaves on it. And that could actually go in a couple different environments. I could go in the ghoul pit one too. So I might actually, when I'm polishing before release, go and do that and add a tree that has no leaves on it. So I can use that in some of the environments. That'd be cool. Oh, I could put some mountains right here. So we'll put those there. Need more ice spikes everywhere. Am I starting to lag? I was lagging down there. That's concerning. So these have physics, so you don't want to bump them. All right. So we gotta put a little bit around the edges here. It's going in and out of lagging. Is it right around here for some reason? All right, lags a little bit, and then if I go over here, I'm fine. Oh, it would be a good spot for some stumps, I feel like. Someone's been cutting down these trees. All right. I wonder if I'm putting down so many it's gonna lag. Because there's probably more than I put down. No, I have like those patches of grass on Moo Moo and those don't lag. I think it's just that the level editor is not very optimized. I think it's actually trying to do everything, maybe. Or has a weird algorithm for some reason. I don't know. All right, is that it? That might be it. Might be good. I can put some ice spikes over here too. That'll be fun. All right. Oh, rocks. Rocks. There should definitely be rocks on this map. Just a few of them though. I don't need too many. I should probably redo the rocks. They don't look very good. That's the one thing that does look pretty bad, I think, is the rocks. Alright, so I'm just going to have them in that section near the end for a change of scenery. Alright, what is this one? I don't know what that one is. I've forgotten. Because this is the horse right here. I was thinking that was the horse for a bit, but it's not. What do we have in here? So we have barn, barrel, blue missile, brick. Oh, this is in order. So it's right next to the lantern. After the lantern. Where's the lantern? Wait, no. After the fireball. Oh, that's the ghost. Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, don't want to put those down. This is not a ghost map. All right, so I'm gonna export that, and then I'll go over to data, maps, and we'll go to Frosty Iceberg. I just have to remove that. That's the old map, and then put in the new one, and that will be blocks, I believe. Just double check that. Yep, we're good. And I saw the file size, so it saved it. We're good. Before I start, let me read chat real quick. Have you ever tried? Oh wait, no, I read that. It would be cool. Nope. Oh, it does sometimes. Yes, it does. So if I talk like this, you can see it. And I mean, to some degree, it is just the fact that the mouth movements that we make are kind of subtle. My old one, what I did was I scaled up the mouth movements so that more subtle mouth movements would become more apparent. Because when you see these types of avatars and stuff, I mean, the eyes are way bigger than normal human eyes, and generally these type of, I guess you could say, cartoonish characters are significantly more expressive than normal humans. So where our eyes are used to seeing humans' mouths move a certain amount, and we can perceive that easier. Whereas when you see it mapped onto a face like this, and we're used to seeing like cartoonish characters with exaggerated expressions, it kind of doesn't look like it's moving much, and we're not used to seeing that type of stuff. But yeah, I did deal with that on my old avatar by like doubling the mouth movements or something like that, so that it was more visible. And I might do that on this one. Probably not. I wouldn't go double, or it would be more subtle this time, I think, because the tracking on the mouth is better than before. I don't know. That's something for later, though. And then also, I mean, if I can get used to just moving my mouth more when I talk, that also solves the problem. Waylon Walker. That reminds me of Waylon Snedker. Hi. All right. If you have a static bar at the bottom that displays, e.g., health and avatar, etc., should be drawn by a shader or on the CPU side. Should shaders only be used for changing images? So you're asking about the heads-up display or user interface stuff that goes on top of the game. I normally split that onto its own surface, and then you can have in a shader when you do your final post-processing, if you need a shader to begin with. So don't do it if you don't have a reason to be using shaders. But if you need a shader, the way I do it is I create a layer for the user interface. So things like your health, like you were mentioning, and maybe like a score thing and like the text and stuff like that. And I put that all in one layer, and then the game world goes on another layer. And those are just surfaces, two separate surfaces. And then you convert those both to textures, and you pass those two textures to the shader separately. And then there's a lot of convenience that comes out of doing it that way when it comes to certain types of shader effects. Some of them, a lot of them you'll probably only want to do it on the world space. So you'll probably want to keep the user interface as it is, but then do shader stuff on the world. So you'll be like, if this pixel is set in the user interface, then we just overwrite everything we did for the world stuff. So that's how I normally blend that, is you just pass it in as two separate textures. Some Russian. Yes, I know about Python SDL2 video. Well, is video just for videos, or is that just the part for the graphics card part? I don't remember. I think it's just the graphics card part. But I know the SDL2 stuff has all that optimized stuff for using your graphics card, because that's what they were doing in SDL2 in general. But that's not, well, it's not on the website documentation yet, so I guess it's not fully there yet. They're still working on it a bit. When I first saw it, there was no documentation on it at all. I think they have some now. I don't think it's on the website though, but it's hard to figure out how to use it, or at least it was when I first looked. And I'm in a situation where I don't think I really need it right now, so yeah. Anyways, let's take a look at what we've got now. Hopefully this works. So there's the ice spikes. I think they look alright. It would be cool if it curved out a little bit more, just so that the shadows were more apparent. Oh, here's the mountains over here. Did I do it backward? No, I didn't. I did it right. Okay. Nice mountains. Alright. My drifting sound was missing. There it is. So there's the stumps. And there should be some rocks at the end. I'm liking the way this is looking. Yeah, it's just looking more like a complete map now. It was looking really sketchy there for a bit, especially like when I was messing around with the palettes and things were looking super gray, but when I made the snow white, that was like a real game changer that made it look good, I think. The ice is a little bit iffy still on the water, but palette-wise, there's not a lot I can do about it. So you can take a little bit of a shortcut here. That doesn't help you much because of the speed boost. Would be there anyways. Let's take the shortcut. I did it. I can't wait to see all the people try to take that shortcut and fail when I get to a playtest. That ice section. I'm gonna have to be very subtle with the ice sliding, or else this map's not gonna work. It's funny, I'm gonna have to go through a lot of effort just to add the ice, and it's probably only gonna be used on this map. Maybe I'll do one other map with a little bit of ice or something like that, or maybe something that's slippery, I don't know. But for the most part, it's not gonna be used. Ah, I went in the middle, don't do that. Hey, look at all of those. Yep, there we go. That's the end of the race. One issue is that you can't really see the text too well, but since this is the only map that's gonna have this much white on it, I think it probably shouldn't be an issue. I might go and do something about that later, depending on what the maps end up being. We'll see. Oh, I forgot I was supposed to fix some stuff with the website that was broken. I'll have to do that at some point later. But that's where things are right now. So we got our 6 maps. Frosty Iceberg is almost done. All that's left is the ice and the penguins. Gotta add some life form. The Gold Pit has the ghost. Pirate Bay has a crab. Well, Lava Castle has the fireballs. Bok Bok has the chicken. Sandy Oasis actually doesn't have anything, but that makes sense because I could add like tumbleweeds. That would be funny. But right now it's just empty because I mean you don't see very many animals in a desert. All right. So that's that. You're trying to create a game now, however your knowledge both in Unity and Blender lacks. What would my advice be for starting game dev? I have a video for that. Look at it's now my most popular video on my channel, but I don't know if YouTube's actually updated it so that's actually at the top when you sort by popular. It's the what is it? How to actually get into game dev video. I have a lot of tips for learning game dev, like picking your engine, but then also after that, what you do to improve, and I guess a roadmap for that. Looks good. Should the camera be so zoomed in though? I think it's fine. So if I zoom out more, I'm gonna have performance issues on lower end computers. It ends up. Oh wait, I can't actually start it with a second client, but I think it ends up working fine, especially when you know the maps. It's definitely difficult if you don't know the maps at first, but I mean Mario Kart's kind of the same way. You can see further ahead in Mario Kart, but yeah, in this it's mostly fine once you know the maps. And I will add, I think, different camera modes that can help with that a bit, but yeah. what's going to be the next map if there is. I talked about this in the last live stream, and the next one's going to be really easy to make. It'll be a circuit map, just a general circuit map. So all of my maps so far, you're like on a dirt road or something like that. I don't actually have one where you're driving on an actual road. So I want to make one that's like a circuit map, like your Luigi circuit type of thing. And it's going to be super simple. And going to be the easiest map. And well, once you add a lot of players and a lot of items, it'll probably be absolute chaos. But in terms of actually making the turns and stuff, it should be pretty easy. And then actually like creating the map, drawing all the assets and everything should be pretty fast on that one. So this one I'm working on right now is it the most time intensive one so far? I'm trying to think. Moo Moo had the barn, and I was getting used to the workflow, but I don't think Moo Moo is pretty small. BC3 or Turtle Castle was pretty simple. I didn't have the edge tiles, I didn't have to do the edge thing. Ghoul Pit also had a lot of rectangular sections, so I didn't have to do too many complicated edges and stuff. Wait a sec. Let's see, is that the list? Yeah. Oh, and Pirate Bay. Pirate Bay was fairly time consuming, but I think Frosty Iceberg is going to be the most time consuming overall because it's got the ice in it. And then, yeah, and actually, well, it's also kind of small, so maybe it's on par with Pirate Bay. Sanity Oasis didn't take very long to do. But, yeah. I might add another car for the next playtest as well. Just give more variety, because what do we have right now? We've got Sprinter, Pike, Blue Bug, Fish, Bomb. So there's 5 cars. Maybe add a 6th or 7th. Yeah. And then also, so I know before the next playtest I want to do 8. So there'll be the circuit track, and then I might do something like Void, or I was also thinking like clock themed, or now that I'm thinking about it, just because I don't have very many tracks where you're actually driving on a road, I might do something like Moonview Highway or Mushroom Bridge, those Mario Kart tracks where it's an actual, like the idea is more of an actual road that you're driving on rather than a circuit. That would be interesting. We'll see. So I think in reality, I'll probably almost definitely do at least 10 tracks. I don't know if I'll go all the way to 16 for the release, but we'll see. I don't know, maybe I'll get really into the workflow and then maybe it'll go to 24, who knows. But, and if people like the game, I'll definitely add more tracks and stuff, but we'll see. How do I did I organize my time between programming and studying? Well, now I don't have to do that because I have a job and I get home from my work and I don't have any tests that I have to worry about or anything. I'm actually just done. So I can work on all my other stuff. So YouTube and games and stuff like that. But, I mean, the way I balance it is pretty much, I put my school first to some degree. I wasn't like doing everything to get A's and everything. I mean, I found school to be fairly easy. So, it didn't take too much effort to get A's in most of my classes, but I wasn't too concerned if I didn't get an A in a class. I was just trying to make sure that I didn't lose my scholarships by getting bad grades, too many bad grades, and that I also wanted to make sure that I didn't fail in any classes because that would set me back. So aside from preventing those things from happening, especially once I got into the later years where it's just guaranteed to keep my scholarship regardless of my grades, as long as I was passing my classes, I was just focused on not failing my classes. And well, for me, doing the bare minimum to make sure that I don't, there's like almost no chance of me failing often gets me an A anyways. And that's what ended up happening. So like, I mean, my GPA was like 3.93 or 9.4. I can't remember. Well, and also that's a college GPA, so it's not like high school where you can get above 4. 4 is the absolute maximum. But yeah, so I mean, just balancing it was just put school first insofar as that I was trying to make sure that I didn't fail any of my classes. And then the rest of it just went towards, I guess, having fun and doing my own projects and stuff. So really it's just making sure you have your priorities straight. And then there's some discipline in being able to have responsibilities in school, but then also to consistently put in time into a productive hobby rather than a purely entertainment hobby like playing video games or watching TV shows and movies and stuff like that. But yeah, although like I showed earlier in the stream, I went and calculated in the stream, and it was like what I put in on average a bit over half an hour a day into game development over the last 10 years. It's definitely higher more recently, but when you average it all out, it's like, what, half an hour a day for 10 years? So you don't need much. I mean, that's how long people would spend on, like, Duolingo or whatever to learn a language. So, I mean, there's people that just kind of passively learn skills and, I guess, put in about as much time as I put in. Now, I guess people on average put in less than what they say they do on a daily basis, because there are days they end up not doing it, and that just pulls down the average. Whereas I was looking at the average, accounting for all of that, and it ends up being over like something like 30 to 40 minutes. So it's still, I guess, more than people put into something like Duolingo, which I think most people do like 15 minutes, and then they would do it most days, not all. So it's more of a commitment than that, but it doesn't have to be a ton. You can just, I think most people could find room to the degree that I have. Now, when you mix in YouTube, though, and the other stuff that I have going on the side outside of game development, then that gets more time consuming and it's more of a commitment. And especially recently, I've really cranked up the hours I'm putting into this stuff. I know, well, actually, when I was in school right before I graduated, and I could only do this because I knew I was about to graduate, there were a lot of weeks where I was working like 80 hours between school and, contracted work and, well, actually I had 2 contracted jobs, and I had, my own projects and stuff like that, so I had a lot going on, and I was working nonstop and didn't really have any time for myself. But I wouldn't do that as something you did regularly. I don't think that's sustainable. But so nowadays I'll put in several hours on like Fridays and Saturdays, because I don't work Fridays or Saturdays or Sundays for my actual job. I got a 32-hour-a-week job, so I just work Monday through Thursday. And actually, the way I do my hours, get out on Thursday at 2 p.m. So I have a pretty long weekend to work on my stuff. But part of that is that I'm supplementing my income with the stuff I make from game development, which is actually, as long as I'm not trying to do it full time, I get a pretty good return on it. So it pays decently well. It comes from all sorts of stuff. So the Patreon. So thank you for those of you that do that. That's part of what enables me to make the arrangement where I'm working less, getting paid less at my job, so that I can work on my own projects and still be making some money on the side. So the more I can make from my games and stuff, the more time I can put into it. So I guess technically, if Yawnoc sells well, it would have to. I don't think I would be able. I can't go below the hourly commitment I have right now. But in theory, if it sold well enough for me to go full time, I would do that, and then you'd see all sorts of cool stuff that I would be working on. I don't think Yawnoc will sell that well. I'm aiming to hopefully make about $10,000 from it. That's my goal. I'm not even sure if I can even hit that. I'm hoping I can, but we'll see. Now, if Yawnoc sold, let's say, for $150,000 total, I would seriously consider going full-time game development, which I think is very unlikely. So the interesting thing about transitioning to possibly doing this stuff full-time is that since I'm fairly risk averse, wouldn't want to do it unless I'm almost certain that I'll be able to make enough money to live off of and like get a salary comparable to what I'm making right now. And even if the $10,000 is that I'm aiming for is a good amount for the time I put into Yawnoc, the risk of trying to make money that way and it not being stable is enough to keep me working a normal job. So I would have to go, especially on my first paid game in several years, it would have to do really well for me to immediately decide to go full-time game development. Now, if I'm consistently getting, if I'm consistently getting pretty good sales, and it ends up, I guess, coming out to seemingly, for the part-time that I'm doing, paying like over double what I make from my job or whatever, then I would do it after I have enough of a sample size to know that it's consistent. But that would be a couple years down the road. So I don't know. It's interesting trying to think about how I'll be able to make that transition, and I guess what the monetary requirements are to do that. Because, well, I'm already in a situation where I could move to another country and do game development full time, which is tempting. And depending on how things go, I think for now I would like to make a fair bit of money at the start of my career, and then I just have investments that can make some passive income, and then that makes the whole thing less risky if I want to move to another country and do game development full time. And so I'm waiting to see, I guess, what happens with that. It's just, I think it's a bit risky to do that this early in my career, if I want to move to another country. So we'll wait and see what happens. But it is very tempting to and it's a little bit annoying to know that I could be doing this stuff full time and making a pretty good income for the country I like to think about is Costa Rica. I could be making a very good income for Costa Rica. The quality of life in Costa Rica is pretty good. It's actually one of the happiest countries on the planet. It's below Finland, but it's up there. And the crime is funny. The crime is similar to where I live right now anyways. And what is it? Yeah, there's not, pretty much the only downside of moving to Costa Rica. Well, there's two. There's there's a few. There's the culture is going to be different, obviously different language, which is why I want to learn Spanish. There's my family is not there. My family's in Florida, so yeah. There's a lot of things that go into that consideration. By the way, maybe an ice power-up / obstacle could be created to put the ice slipping code into good use. Well, how would you use that? Because that sounds more like a debuff to be sliding around everywhere. I don't see how that... I could see it being an item. Maybe you would do it like the... Maybe I could do it like the lightning bolt, or like that. Sorry, not like the thundercloud in Mario Kart, where you pass around, you get it, and it makes you go fast for a while, but then it'll mess you up if you don't pass it along or something. But the thing is, the bumping's not super reliable on Pixkartz because I didn't put too much effort into networking, and then also I don't have regional servers. So, I mean, Mario Kart also lets you play internationally, but I think normally I end up playing with people that are somewhat local, and the connection's pretty good. But, and I know my audience is also coming from places that just don't have great internet connections and aren't in a good spot in the world for that. Because in Mario Kart, you'll see people from Japan, for example, and Japan's networking wise got a good connection, whereas what is it? There are people from Malaysia that will be in the playtest, for example, and their connection is much worse than people from Japan or South Korea to my American servers. and it'll be worse by like, I don't know, 100 milliseconds or something. It's pretty rough. So trying to have that mechanic where you pass something around might not work too well. So I'm not sure how I would do that because the sliding around would have to be kind of a debuff. Did I ever program a big project while having brain fog? I mean, I think the closest thing to brain fog I get is when I'm just really tired. And I mean, I've done stuff while being really tired. And actually, the best example of that is the Vagrant user interface for the inventory. The code on that is absolute spaghetti because I wrote it in the airport after not sleeping for like 24 hours. And it was such a mess. I tried to clean it up a little bit without entirely rewriting it, but it's still really bad. So no, now I avoid doing it when I'm extremely tired, or just try to do things that are simple, and start partitioning out my time to avoid doing certain types of things when I'm not thinking too clearly. But yeah, it's something that you have to take into account when planning out your work. For how long have I been doing my game and which game engine? So this is Python, and I'm using my own frameworks and stuff for this, my own networking framework, my own graphical framework and everything on top of, well, I'm using Pygame, but on top of that, I'm using my own stuff. And then, yeah, this game, Pixkartz, I've been working on, I think it's April last year, I think, maybe. It says almost a year old, it's getting there. This is my longest running project, maybe, or no, Vagrant was longer, because I worked on it for a little bit here and there across multiple years. But this one's the longest one that I've consistently been working on, I think. And yeah, well, I think the more interesting question is how many hours have I put into it, because I can put in a lot, like my game jam games, I can put in a lot of hours and it's just like 2 days. Whereas I can work on a larger project and be like, oh, I put in like 3 months, but I've only put in like 15 hours. So, I mean, Pixkartz I've probably put in over 100 hours, I would assume, just because of all the map stuff and the fact that I've streamed some stuff from it as well. It makes it so I work a bit slower. Actually, is it over 100? Maybe it's not over 100 hours yet. I don't know. It's somewhere around there. Shouldn't I do more marketing for my game, more like devlogs or posts on other social networks? Are you talking about Pixkartz or Yawnoc? Because Pixkartz, I'm trying to be careful to not overload my servers when I get to release. I'm trying to ease into it and figure out how I want to do that. Because I don't want Pixkartz to be super big, because then I don't have any way to make money off of it if I want to release it for free. So, because I don't have like microtransactions, and I don't plan on releasing it as a paid game. I want it to be free. But the problem is I don't want to be spending like $200 a month on servers for a free game that I'm just losing. So I would want it to be that either it gets really big and then I do put in like skins or something, maybe hats, and I can make some money off of it to pay for the servers. Or I want to keep it small where I'm just paying like $20-30 a month to run the servers and just leave it there. And then play it at the end of live streams with people watching and stuff like that. That I'm leaning towards that second option because that's the more likely one. But it would probably like a small community. And what another thing that could happen is I could let people start self-hosting stuff, and they could set up their own things, and then it can grow that way. But yeah, I have to be very careful about how I publicize this one so that I don't drive too many people to play it. Now with Yawnoc, I'll probably do lots of devlogs and stuff. I just haven't gotten to that point yet. I'm waiting, because it was made for a collaboration, I'm waiting for that collaboration video to come out. It's not going to be on my channel, it's going to be on another channel. And once that's out, I'll start working on Yawnoc again, and then I'll probably start making devlogs and doing that stuff and start pushing it more. So I just kind of did like a soft announcement. I did a community post, and it's in the description of my live streams here. So and then I posted in Discord, Twitter, and Reddit, but I do not have a video or a short on my channel yet talking about it, which is where most of the marketing will come from. And that's also, like I said, intentional because the collaboration video isn't out yet, but I will start pushing that more once that happens. You feel like people who often do this tend to sell their game well? Well, yeah, the people, if you're talking about people that have YouTube channels to promote it, yeah, oftentimes they do. Well, actually, no. Not always. I'm trying to think of some... I'll pull this up because we're at the end of the stream, so... I can pull up the interesting internet things now. So there's Jonas Tyrell. I don't... Oh, no, it's... What's it called? Thronefall. This is the biggest success story of game dev YouTube of recent. Is Thronefall. Can I? Yeah. Look at this. 11,000, almost 500 reviews. And I think they didn't work on this for too long. I think they made this in under a year. I don't know the full details on this, but it did really well. So this is like a success story from that, and he kicked it off with YouTube. That's how that happened. I think that's not what he did. Yeah, he didn't do his, because I think Will You Snail also did pretty well. Let's see. 2,000, yeah, it did pretty well. I would say that's pretty well. Yeah, you can do the math on that. So you get that times 40 is the review to sale ratio. And then you can say, because of regional pricing and sales, you can say it sells for like $7, and then you, I'm not going to do the Steam cut. That's under an NDA, so I won't tell you what it is after the Steam cut. Is it really? Bruh. Okay. I didn't know it sold that well. That's pretty well. That's a house right there. But yeah, I mean, if I sold something that sold this well, then yeah, this would be my full-time job. And I think I do have the skills to do it. It's just that it's risky. So I prefer to do it on the side and then go full-time after I've made the money, rather than trying to do it full-time when I'm not entirely certain. But if I did something like this, I could pay off a house, and actually the numbers, I'm probably overestimating a little bit. I don't know how the YouTube stuff affects the review rate. I would assume the review rate's going to be higher for people coming from a YouTuber because they'll want to support it. So maybe you say 30 or 20 to be more conservative, and then the regional pricing, you probably have a lot more international people, so you probably pull that down to maybe $6 or something. But still, that's a house. And if I could like pay off a house and just not have very many monthly costs, and also have savings from sales like that, I could go full time easily. But and then that's not even to mention Thronefall. But so that's like an example of a success story. What is it? I think Punch a Bunch was successful, right? Moderately successful. That's interesting. I think this one, he mostly drove the traffic himself. I don't think Steam promoted it too much, or especially because it's getting mixed reviews now. I don't know. Let's see, 780. This is the funny Steam math. We'll call this one 6. We'll do 30 and 6 again, and that's still a good amount. Although I think this one he worked on for years. So, Will You Snail was also worked on for years as well, I think. So I don't know. But there are some that are less successful. I think Blackthorn Prod has one of the biggest channels. 10 reviews, 152 reviews, 66 reviews. So this one, 152 is not bad. I mean, that's way more than I have on any of mine. But if you look at the numbers on that, especially with how much time they probably put into it, it's probably not a great return, which is why they, I think, pivoted towards the pivoted harder towards YouTube than game development. Let's see. So this one, you'd say 4, and that comes out to, before Steam's cut and taxes and everything, 18,000 is the estimate. And I mean, I can do the math that I'm doing right here on my games, and I actually know the stats on them, and we can see if it's accurate, if I'm doing it right. So I have, let's see, 14 by 30 by, wait, this is a cheap one, so it's like $2. Oh, this is underselling it. So, well, one of the things I was pulling down the review to sale ratio a fair bit because I was pulling it down because of the assumption that the YouTube people would get more reviews per sale because they have a dedicated audience. Whereas I released Super Potato Bra and Drawn Down Abyss before being bigger on YouTube. I had like maybe 100 subscribers. And I never really promoted these because they're old games at this point. They're not that great compared to what I make now. So I just don't promote it on my channel much. So most of these reviews I think came in a while ago, like before YouTube. I was doing stuff on YouTube really. So it's safer to say 40 here. And then you can increase this a bit because the 2 a bit because of having more US-based people than I guess I would have on YouTube. And that comes out to a more accurate number. I think like half of the income came from Steam and like half of it's from itch. So it's like I've made about 3,000. Actually, I think it's like 6,000 combined between Drawn Down Abyss and Super Potato Bra. Super Potato Bra made more though. So this is still, I think, underestimating it a little bit. So let's see. I don't know. This is interesting math to do, especially when I'm in a situation where I'm considering trying to see if I can do this stuff full time. So yeah, 13 by 40. And this one's more expensive. It's like $1 more expensive. 3.3, let's call it. Now this one is overestimating. Like I said, Super Potato Bra actually did sell better, which is, and I think this is partially the YouTube effect because of when people coming from YouTube that want to try my games will go play Drawn Down Abyss because it's a newer one, and I mean I say it's better when people ask anyways. So you can start pulling these numbers down, I guess, like I did for those other games because it's of the YouTube audience, and then that comes out to being accurate. So I think my numbers are accurate. Maybe I don't know the details when you get up to that scale though, so it might change. The general rule of thumb is like something between 20 and 50 sales per review, if you're curious. But yeah, interesting stuff. There are lots of people that are even smaller than me that have had huge success just by promoting their games on YouTube. But the thing is that the smaller they are, the longer they have to promote it to get it to the wishlist point where Steam will promote it, which I've heard on the bottom end is 7,000, which is what I'm aiming for Yawnoc. So I'll probably just keep working on Yawnoc until I have enough wishlists and release it. So, and I'm aiming for 7,000 is the number. So, although ideally you get up like into the tens of thousands, maybe 20,000 if you can, and that's where you get the really good results. But I don't know. I think if I get 7,000, statistics say that I should probably be able to make my goal of earning $10,000 on that, which would be really cool. Oh, Danny? Well, Danny hasn't sold anything. That's not a good reference because his games are all free. You think Jonah spent around 50K making Will You Snail, but that is probably balanced out slightly by monetization of his YouTube videos. I don't know how I remember seeing that breakdown a while ago. I don't remember how he broke that, like how he calculated that 50K, because some people will calculate how much their time is worth that they spent working on the game and count that as an expense. And then some people won't count that, and they'll just count how much you hired external people or how much you spent on tools or marketing or whatever. I don't know. I don't remember the details of that because I saw that video like 8 years ago or whatever. When I plan on working on Vagrant, I'm probably not going to continue it at this point. If I do, I like the idea, which is just boss rush platformer, combat heavy game. Like with really, so something I found out is that the idea I had for Vagrant, and I think I started Vagrant before Genshin Impact, but I think Genshin Impact is basically Vagrant. Like on the core, like on the progression standpoint. So in Vagrant, you collect weapons, and you level up your weapons to get different abilities on those weapons. And the abilities get stronger with more levels, and you unlock more of them and stuff of them like that. Whereas I think from Genshin Impact, which I haven't played Genshin Impact, but I've seen people play it and I've heard a bit about it. I think it's you get the characters, and then that's equivalent to the weapons in Vagrant, where you get the characters, you like level them up. I'm assuming I know you have the different abilities for the different characters, but then I would assume they progress in some way. They would get stronger, or maybe you unlock better abilities and stuff like that for them. So it's basically the same thing. It's just that you replace people with weapons, and that's Vagrant. But I really like the idea early on, like both the mechanics and like of the weapons, and just conceptually what you're doing, which is the boss fights and stuff. But now the core weapon mechanic's been taken by Genshin Impact. And the other problem is that I don't really have the skills I need for doing the artwork for the boss fights right now. I mean, I could probably do it now, but back then I was having issues with that. And the code base is old. It's not even on Pigpen, because that's before Pigpen. It was right as I was starting to get into object-oriented programming, I guess. I'm starting to mix that in. So the code base is really hard to work with. So if I continued it, which I might actually take that idea, because thematically I think it's also interesting as well. I might take that idea and redo it, new artwork, everything. Maybe take some of the old code for a couple things, but for the most part, do it from the ground up and take that concept and do something with it. That would be fun. That's something I would almost definitely do if I were working for myself full time, but I have to be careful about what I picked to spend my time on at the moment. So we'll see what happens. But the interesting thing is that, like, I think there is code from Vagrant and my devlog project where you throw things. That code has survived through, like, portions of it have been taken and put into like Pigpen and all sorts of other stuff. So those projects weren't like a waste. Well, first there's the skills I got out of them, but then also I took a lot of the code and I'm still using it. So they're still around to some extent. Do I have a speed issue that I couldn't, have I had any speed issues I couldn't manage when using Python? Not really. I think, well, like when I'm designing things, I take into account what Python can do. I think most of the time it's not really an issue, but like, yeah, I don't think I ever really get into anything. I'm like, wait, Python's too slow for this. Like, I think I always know what it can handle, and it can handle pretty much everything I need. There might be some small things, like there are some things for work where I was dealing with like stuff that had to go super fast, like handle tons of data really fast. So I had to write some stuff in C, but I mean, occasionally there'll be stuff like that. But for the most part, especially with game development, Python's fine. You think Joe? Oh yeah, I read that. Oh, from Muck? Isn't Muck free? I'm pretty sure Muck was free. I played Muck. I did not buy Muck. Is it paid now? 160,000 reviews. But yeah, I had some online friends that got into Muck, so I was playing with them a little bit. And that was, I think, in the early days of it. Yeah. Man, Danny's games are successful. I think his mobile games weren't too super successful. It's his PC games. Because I think he got started with like mobile games or something. And he switched. I think Carlson is one of the most wishlisted games on Steam. I don't know where he went. It's funny because I'm in like a Discord server for the Game Dev YouTube people, and Danny's in there, and I think he did talk in there in the past, and he disappeared from there too. But I mean, he's around. He'll show up in the comments in some places every now and then. But I don't personally know much about what's going on with him at the moment. The guy who made Punch a Bunch obviously has much less subscribers than Jonas, so that's probably why he doesn't make that much. It's Ponty Pants, right? How big is he? I thought he was doing pretty well on YouTube, right? What? He's at 174,000. What are you talking about? What is Jonas at? Jonas was at like 100,000 when he re-released.
This is thrown.
Yeah. Jonas is at 184. So Ponty Pants is actually pretty much the same size. But Jonas released Will You Snail at right around 100,000 subscribers. So yeah, Ponty Pants I think has the size. But and I mean the game didn't do bad. It's just that Jonas's games have been huge success stories within Game Dev YouTube. He's one that really stands out, but Ponty Pants has also done pretty well. There are people that don't do well, but if you think about it, though, if you actually look at the numbers for the people that are around 100,000 subscribers when they release their games and stuff like that, which is what I'll probably be at when I release Yawnoc, hopefully, or getting close to that point. And right now it looks like it'll all be at like 80 something, maybe 90K when I release Yawnoc. But if you look at it, the stats are way better than the average for people releasing indie games, but it's still like a 50-50 type thing. So who knows? Danny's audience is also mainly 12-year-olds, which won't ever buy a game he makes, even though they wishlist. I think he's probably made more than enough just off of the microtransactions on Crab Game. And the YouTube revenue, because I mean he's getting, is it tens of millions or just millions? I don't remember. No, I also know the YouTube math. I know the Steam math and the YouTube math. It's funny, you're in the stuff, and then you can just tell from the public stats how much people are making, probably. Let's see. 13 million, 10 million, 11 million. Yeah, so if he just assume for sponsors will assume he gets 10 million views per video. So he can't get the good sponsorship rate, or probably can't, I don't know. The sponsorship rates that smaller channels will get will be like 20 to 30 dollars per 1,000 views. It goes down with larger channels because well, first of all, there's oftentimes a younger audience, but then also just in general, it's less, I guess the idea is less intimate with the audience, so what the creator says has less sway, so the sponsorships aren't valued as high. And also a lot of the higher paying sponsors are more niche and can't even afford that scale. But let's say, I know a lot of the VPNs will do like 10 or 15 as a CPM, so you just do that and then you go 10,000. And he can make a video and he could make a video and make it sponsored, and he could reasonably ask for over $100,000 for one video. So, I mean, I would not be surprised if he has enough to retire at this point, which is probably why he's not in a rush. I don't know. Although it could be some other stuff. I have no idea. Do I define a budget for my games or just create them? I don't. So like I mentioned, there are some people that count their own labor as part of their budget, which makes sense if you're, well, I mean, at that point, you should break it down to kind of your salary. I feel like, I don't know. Although there's a weird thing in the U.S. where you can make an S corp and you start paying yourself, and you can get some your tax liability reduced by doing some weird things where you're calculating a salary for yourself or something like that. But most people don't do that. Most people either don't have any business or they have an LLC. I have an LLC, but and it's better to think about, I think, as just how much you make and what your expenses outside of your own labor are, and then how much that comes out to. But yeah, for me, because I don't pay for anything except for, I mean, multiplayer games, I'll pay for my servers. Is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't pay for anything else. So, except for, I guess I did pay for FL Studio, which is like a one-time thing. And A-Sprite, that's also a one-time thing. So I don't have any recurring expenses that go up with the more games I make. Maybe I'll get to a point where I'll spend money on some plugins for FL Studio or some fully sound packs. But my budget's going to be like, for my games, because I do most of the stuff that would be expensive by myself, my budget is in the hundreds of dollars when I'm probably making stuff in the thousands or tens of thousands. So it's negligible. Well, until, like I said, except for the multiplayer games, because then the server costs make it so I could be losing money because of the fact that I'm not really trying to monetize those. So it's interesting, but yeah, I don't create a budget. That's not a thing I need to do. Danny burnout of Howard Wilson? Did he say that? I mean, I would suspect there's some burnout there overall, because I mean, especially maintaining multiplayer games and stuff like that, he's probably really busy for a while, and his I think his YouTube videos are pretty high effort as well. So I would not be surprised if he burned out and he just needs a break right now. That's probably what it is. Yeah, you're saying, especially because he worked really hard on Crab Game and Muck. Yeah. You want to turn on the server? No. So for this game, I mean, I would have to send you the build and everything as well. And yeah, so I'm not gonna do that until the next playtest. I am at the point where I know I'm taking because I did say before the last playtest that the next playtest would be when I decided whether or not I would take the game to release, and I did decide I will take it to some form of a release. Not entirely sure how that will manifest yet. And then, but I do have to add in, because I did also mention before that the last playtest might have been the last one. But I think I'll definitely keep doing playtests as I add maps and stuff, and just make sure that I'm on the right track. Pun intended. Well, not intended, but then I noticed it, so I can say it's intended, and it's funnier. All right. So that's pretty much everything. I streamed way longer than I intended to. That was almost 4 hours. So I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here because I need to eat. I was hungry at 12 p.m. I'm really hungry now. Actually, it kind of goes away a little bit after a while. You just get hungry around the time that you normally eat, and then it goes away afterwards. And I mean, I could probably go till dinner time, and I'll start noticing it in a bit if I start moving around. But yeah. Anyways, thank you for watching. I guess I'll see you guys next week. And like I said, next week is probably going to be that sponsored stream where I stream the game, me playing the game that I was hired to work on, which it's a cool game. So I think it'll be interesting to watch. But I am also getting paid for that stream, which is funny.